He thinks Frisbee golf is the sport of the future. She's sticking with football. They are Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
Well, it wasn't very pretty from an offensive standpoint, but it really never is with the Pittsburgh Steelers lately. Hey, welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. It is Maggie and Perloff.
Yeah, that was an offensive explosion in Pittsburgh turf. For Mike Tomlin, that was the greatest show on turf night. I mean, that's a 2016 blowout win.
I know. Well, one part of the story last night is definitely the emergence of Will Levis, and we'll get to that from the Titans side. But really for the Steelers, Perloff, this was the big change, moving the maligned offensive coordinator Matt Canada from the booth down to the field. You get 20 points out of it. You have an issue with Kenny Pickett. I did not think that Pickett was the problem.
Oh, okay. So you have no problem with your quarterback sailing at 10 yards over an open receiver consistently?
Okay, go ahead.
He's got no accuracy. Okay. I'll admit, and I'm not going to argue, he's amazing in the end of a fourth quarter, which is such an odd thing, but he looks worse than he did last year. He's missing open receivers all game long, every game. He's one of the bottom 5 in accuracy on PFF. There's just something a little bit off with him, and the team around him is amazing. Every spot, when they're healthy, is great. And I think he's holding him back. And I think they coach like he's holding him back. They never want him to throw at certain points. And I think there's a reason because he's inaccurate.
Okay, I don't think they're covering for Pickett. He, missed some throws last night, but quarterbacks are going to miss throws. His stat line, by the way, is terrible. So if you're looking at the stat line, he's 19 for 30 or whatever for 100 and less than 200 yards.
I think his stat line's better than he actually played because he had so many opportunities early in the game. First half, he was terrible. Second half, he was good.
Yes, and that's been kind of the Kenny Pickett story. But I do think it is more about the offensive philosophy of this team, which is, it's ridiculous. It's really crazy that I'm reading that this gave the team a spark when the offensive coordinator comes down to the field and they scored 20 points. That's the spark. That's wild. You had the run game going last night. You knew the run game was working. And I think the Steelers they're playing every game they're in. They want to win every game 20-16. They don't want this offensive explosion. And to be honest, I thought that, yes, Kenny Pickett sailed some passes, but there were definitely some drops. The penalties were insane. 10 penalties for the Steelers side, including a 12 men in the huddle when you're in the red zone. What's Kenny Pickett supposed to do about that? And also, he's playing with broken ribs. The guy is out there on a short week after getting knocked out of the game on Sunday. I do not think Kenny Pickett was the problem. Was he the solution? He's not going to be, he's not Peyton Manning, but he's not the problem. The problems are bigger on the offense.
Do you see this team winning a Super Bowl with Kenny Pickett at quarterback this year?
I don't see this offense winning a Super Bowl.
No, I think I see that's where we totally disagree. If they had A- quarterback, this would be a Super Bowl team. Everything is good. That pass rush is crazy. They finally got the run game going last night. Yeah. They got Deontay Johnson back and healthy. They have the wide receivers. They have everything. Kenny Pickett's just a B-, and that's not going to win you a Super Bowl in this day and age. It's going to get you 11-6 into the wild card, but I think there's a limit on how far this team can go.
Okay,
until he improves.
He's in his second year, and so I don't think that, I don't think this is his ceiling and that we've seen the absolute best he can play. And he does have that thing, whatever that thing is, where in the fourth quarter, when they need a score, he's able to put together a drive. And Deontay Johnson finally scores a touchdown last night, a passing touchdown for the first time since 2021. That can't be all on Pickett.
Deontay Johnson is a mixed bag. He can be awesome and he can kill you, but here's the problem, Kenny Pickett. You need your aspiration. There's one thing. You have so many things going here. You have Mike Tomlin, a Hall of Fame coach. You have TJ Watt in his prime.
Yep.
This is a team that really should be poised with really, really big aspirations. And Kenny Pickett, you can't win every game on the last drive and expect to keep this going. I don't know if there's any NFL precedent for this to have a team that wins every game by 5 points and then goes all the way to the Super Bowl, because it's not going to work against the elite teams. You can't use this formula. Well, Kenny Pickett's going to save us in the fourth quarter against the Chiefs. It didn't work against the Jags because Pickett got hurt. or who are the other elite teams?
Well,
the
like
Bills.
the Ravens. I mean,
Yeah, you have to have consistent quarterback play, not just one quarter of good quarterback play.
see, I get what you're saying, but if the Steelers actually are playing the Chiefs and what that game plan would have to look like you would have to do, of course you can't go score for score with Patrick Mahomes. Like, they know that. They couldn't do that with the end of Ben Roethlisberger either. Like, you have to reimagine a whole new game plan if you're going up against the Chiefs, if you're going up against the Dolphins, if you're going up against the Bills, if you're going up against any team that has the ability to put points on the board. It has to be totally different. That's how they want to play it. It's like a zag when everyone else is zigging. I just don't know if they need to be zagging this much, where the offensive game plan is so conservative, where it's really like not a threat. I just kept thinking this when I was watching last night. This looks just blah right now on offense. But come December, are we going to be like, aha, see, this is the type of football that can win you games when the weather's crappy, when you're outside and it's like 2 degrees. This is the type of game that you just say, you know what, we don't care how it looked. We won the game.
I don't think this is going to work in December. First of all, generally, they've been a very bad running team. And last night, the Titans sort of laid back and said, go ahead, run all you want, but we don't think you can get the ball in the end zone. And to Kenny Pickett's credit, he did finish a couple drives where the Titans moved the ball all over the field and couldn't get the ball in the end zone. He had to kick field goals. Yeah, I just think that there's a big problem here. Again, the numbers belie this. He's the third most inaccurate quarterback in the entire NFL. That's just, and they're 25th in passing. That formula can work and win you regular season games. It just is not going to work in the playoffs against the elite teams. And that's where I view the Steelers team. And you're right, Kenny Pickett's in his second year. And was he limping last night? What is going on with that dude?
The ribs are definitely broken.
You don't limp with rib injuries, do you?
I don't want to know.
He looks to me like he's 50 out there.
But the other part, too, it's not just, inaccurate, but drops, too.
There were a lot more overthrows and drops, I thought.
855-2124-CBS. I know you want to keep it
He's
back
shot
to
putting it out there without any accuracy because he can't grip the ball. Look, if you watched last night's game and you didn't know who was drafted where, who would you think was the non-first round pick? Will Levis or Kenny Pickett?
Oh, Will Levis looked like Brett Favre out there. It's like, is this guy going to win the MVP? But you look up and they had only scored 16 points. Like, they still have a far way to go.
I don't think Brett Favre. I think he looked like Josh Allen because he's so enormous too. Kenny Pickett's also tall, but he looks like a late round pick who sort of just
looks like Gardner Minshew.
He looks like he's hustling out there.
Yeah.
He's got grit galore, and Tomlin probably loves that. And I will admit, there is a magic in the fourth quarter. If he was healthy last week against the Jaguars, he probably wins that game. I don't know how it's going, but you can't do this forever. You can't win 2016 every game, Maggie.
You know what? With a defense like this, maybe you can win all these one-score games. I mean, again, yes, when you get to the playoffs, maybe you get exposed a little bit, but I don't think the Steelers care how it looks. I know the fans do. The fans care how it looks. And the fans definitely care how the offense looks.
Mike Tomlin might like how this looks.
You know, we think it's the aesthetics stink, but maybe they do love it. I mean, you end up being 6 for 12 on third down. That's not bad, as opposed to the Titans who were 3 for 13. The penalties killed them too. I mean, the 10 penalties. But EJ, I'm thinking maybe a poll question today, sir, around Kenny Pickett. Is he the guy? Can you win a Super Bowl with Kenny Pickett?
That's a good question.
Is something, down the line? I'm not sure I can go that far.
I actually do think the black box theory applies here. I think I used it with your Bills the other day. The joke is when the plane crashes, the only thing that survives is the black box. So why don't you make the whole plane out of the black box?
Right.
Why don't you have fourth quarter, whatever you're doing in the fourth quarter, do it for 4 quarters with Kenny Pickett? Because the first quarter is just not great.
I mean, don't you think running a hurry up basically is what you're talking about?
I honestly think that there is something when they're running their intentionally slow offense, it just doesn't fit him because he does have to make a lot of tight window throws, and I'm not sure that's his thing right now.
Listen, he does enough. He does enough playing hurt to win a game against a team that seemed like they had a lot of momentum at the end. And you're averaging 5.5 yards a carry last night. So just do that. Like, I can't put this all on Pickett. I think they tried to win the game they were in, and it was ugly, but the Steelers do not care. They're the type of team where for 3 quarters, you have no idea how they're even in the game. Well, the
Yeah,
defense.
yeah.
And then you look up and all of a sudden you just got beat.
Yeah.
It's like, how did we lose that one?
You do get a sense throughout the game. You can watch. It's like, TJ Watt's sitting there. He's going to make a play. Or Alex Highsmith.
Yeah.
Watt, interesting to me, not defensive player of the year. It's a crazy race this year. Seeing incredible performances. He is the MVP of that team by far. Even though last night it was Highsmith with the 2 sacks.
Yep.
TJ Watt is one of those non-quarterback MVP candidates to me. If you take him off that team, they're nothing special.
855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. So Steeler fans all over this great country and world.
Yeah, I'm dying to know, what do the Steelers fans think of Kenny Pickett? They probably love him personality-wise, but they must see that the passing game is not great right now.
I think Matt Canada really gets all the ire, but
Canada had a good game last night. They finally were able to get run plays that worked. I think Canada coming down the sideline fixed everything. How, I don't know.
apparently Tomlin did this once before, where in 2007, apparently he brought all the offensive people down to the sideline to help Ben Roethlisberger, and so he just went back to the well.
Yeah, isn't there another coordinator who they're pulling down to the sideline? And we talked about that earlier this week. It might be in college. I don't know what I think you'd be better in the booth because you could see the whole field. I don't understand how being on the field and not understand what's going on.
I've seen it both ways. I've seen it where guys are down on the field and they're like, get that guy up to the booth. This happened with EJ's Jets with Mike LaFleur. They had to throw him up to the booth.
Did they move him around a little bit?
I think it's probably because they thought people were going to be throwing rotten fruit at this guy on the sideline because he sucks so bad. He was like ducking like full cans of beer that were being chucked at him.
You're the Jets. I don't think it matters where you are. If you're in that stadium, you're doing a bad job. But it is really funny. Poor Matt Canada. I mean, I think we've talked about more Matt Canada than any offensive coordinator in the league, which is funny because he's probably the least productive offensive coordinator in the league.
No, that's the only way they talk about you. When you're the absolute best or when you're the absolute worst.
Yeah, there's a guy in the Lions and no one can remember his name, Ben Johnson. Because it's all about Matt Canada. I think he had a nice game last night. I thought Kenny Pickett let them down. They should have blown them out in the first half.
Yeah, I don't put this on Pickett. We'll put the poll up. You can go vote at Maggie and Pearl on Twitter. Is Kenny Pickett the problem? I don't know.
Is it a problem, too? By the way, I want to caveat. In the fourth quarter, Kenny Pickett's Joe Montana. That's a given. I don't know how he's doing this.
He's really good. And I'd almost rather have that aspect of your game, like have that intangible or whatever that is that you can put together these game-winning drives, and then let's work backwards. And then we can get this, the first quarter actually opened with a touchdown drive. So if you get the first quarter and the fourth quarter worked out, then we just work on the middle 2 quarters, and then we got
47 minutes of football, Maggie.
855-212-4CBS. We'll get to Will Levis and that side of it in a moment because...
You mean Will Levis, the second coming of
Yeah.
Brett Favre, Josh Allen? Which Hall of Fame are we going to compare him to? John Elway?
Probably just a combination of all of them together. Meanwhile, he does throw a game-sealing interception at the end of the game.
Well,
so it was not all perfect, but in some ways, it really. Listen, that was a terrible interception to throw,
No,
but it was like a desperation, moment. And all the other things that he did well, you almost forgive it. Because you can see the talent there. Like, it's very obvious. The arm strength is amazing. He's throwing off of his back foot and being able to launch the ball like 50 yards.
Crazy.
He's standing in the pocket when all this pressure is coming and he's about to get mauled. I mean...
Which will last about 3 weeks. He's going to have to learn to get rid of the ball. That interception's not on him at all. There was 18 seconds left in the game. He had to start throwing it up into the end zone.
Yeah, there was like barely a Titan within 10 feet.
But he had 2 passes left in the game, and he had to get 2 balls into the end zone, and the Steelers were all there. Yeah, it was pretty good, although I do worry he's going to get hurt too. I mean, he took massive hits. You could see him play. He's a big guy who has a lot of confidence that he's stronger than everyone, much like your quarterback, Josh Allen.
Yeah, but he's not running like Josh and trying to hurdle people and like leaning his shoulder into a linebacker. Like Josh Allen is nuts. He's not doing that. Levis isn't being that risky. He's just standing in the pocket and making a lot of throws.
Yeah, he's got to get rid of the throw. He never threw the ball to the sidelines away. He's going to have to learn to do that because I don't care if you're 6'5" and built like he's kind of built like me. Did you notice his arms? Like very Perloff.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I've never seen a quarterback
If you
who
were
had,
wearing like one of those superhero costumes that you do at Halloween that make you look really big, that'd be.
do you notice he had his jersey up as high as humanly possible to show off as much of his guns as possible?
Mr. Cutoffs.
Yeah, he basically had a cut-off NFL jersey.
That'd be cool. 855-212-4CBS. So we're seeing an emergence of a new, very fun quarterback. I'll tell you what, it's the most fun the Titans have been in a long time.
I know. All of a sudden, the Titans are not a bore. They might not win the game, but that was interesting.
Yeah, they're definitely not winning. But with Will Levis, at least it makes it interesting. And Derrick Henry had a big game last night with the 17 carries and 75 yards and the touchdown that he reached for and stretched for. He made it happen on that drive. Okay, 855-212-4CBS. Let's hear from the Steelers fans. Is Pickett the problem? You've been calling out Matt Canada this whole time, but is it actually Kenny Pickett? And what we're seeing with Will Levis, does it have you excited? 855-212-4CBS. Lots to do here on the show. This is our first guest in studio later today. Possible, right? Okay. Celebrity NFL picks. And our celebrity is going to be in studio with us today. So we're excited about that. Again, want to hear from you. 855-212-4CBS. Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. "45 seconds remaining. "30 seconds remaining. "15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Stream the NFL on Westwood One for free, sponsored by AutoZone. All season long, you can listen to every Westwood One broadcast of the NFL live on the NFL app by asking Alexa to open Westwood One Sports or on the Odyssey app. Get in the zone, AutoZone. AutoZone's free battery testing and charging is available for free at your local AutoZone. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Restrictions apply. Man, we are just seeing this Pittsburgh Steelers differently. I was very worried about Kenny Pickett holding this team back because I think it's a Super Bowl roster, except for quarterback. Maggie still believes in the fourth quarter hero, Kenny Pickett. Call us 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. I will admit he is pretty awesome in the fourth quarter. I don't understand it, but I think Mike Tomlin is happy with that part of the game. How about you get a little bit of a lead going at home, going against a rookie quarterback? Come on, Maggie.
Since when do the Steelers do anything the easy way? It's just not in their DNA. Here is Mike Tomlin praising Kenny Pickett's clutch play.
Nothing that he does from an intangible perspective or a toughness perspective surprises me. I think that we're all really comfortable about those qualities in him and, you know, his desire to rise up big for us in moments and be significant down the stretch. Can't say enough about it.
There you go. I mean, that's a high praise for Mike Tomlin. That's like as good as it gets, right? He's usually so cryptic and coded with everything he says. That was extremely straightforward. I think he's just a young quarterback who's playing with broken ribs, and I think his offensive coordinator is, whether it's the philosophy of the team or whatever, they have these guardrails up for him. And yes, he sailed a couple passes last night, but again, he's playing with broken ribs.
Oh, come on. It's football. Rub some dirt on it. I don't want to hear excuses.
Lonnie is in Pennsylvania. Wants to talk about Kenny Pickett. Good morning, Lonnie.
Good morning. Thanks for taking my call, guys.
You got it.
Yeah, I think Kenny, I think he is going to be the guy. I think he's the guy for Pittsburgh. He's the guy for the city. I mean, Big Ben, when he first came out, it wasn't about him. It was running the ball and defense is how they won. And he turned into a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say Kenny's going to be a Hall of Famer, but, you know, the thing that the Steelers have is a lights-out defense, so they can rely on that for most of the game. And I think Kenny's better when it's no huddle, and that's the way Ben always was. You know, the offensive coordinator holds him back, I think. He's got to get more accurate. But I think as far as him being the guy, I think Kenny won the city of Pittsburgh. I was in AccuShore Stadium with my kid the night that I think he took over that city, and it wasn't at a game. It was at the Luke Combs concert when he came out shotgun to beer that stadium. And I think right there is where Pittsburgh became Kenny Pickett fans.
Man, Lonnie, thank you for the call. You could have given me 100 guesses. I didn't think that's where you were going with when Kenny Pickett won over the city.
Kenny Pickett's personality is amazing, but that's not going to beat the Chiefs. He's super cool. He's an Eagles fan. So he grew up in South Jersey.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, he grew up in South
That's
Jersey.
why he's so cool.
He's pure Philly through and through because I count South Jersey as Philly. He's a great personality. You're right. He fits the city and fits the team. I don't know if Big Ben in 2006 could play like that and get to the Super Bowl. I think you need to pass in today's NFL. Think of the AFC playoffs. You're going against Josh Allen, Tua, Patrick Mahomes. What happens if this team is in a little bit, Joe Burrow, in a little bit of a shootout?
Or Lamar.
Yeah, Lamar Jackson is unbelievable right now.
A shootout's not going to work, but that's by design. I don't think the Steelers will be in a shootout. Like their defense is so good. I think it's shootout. It's prevented. It's a shootout kryptonite, if you will. By the way, you want to know who else was shotgunning beers at the Luke Combs concert? Maggie Gray. Well, kinda. Perloff and I saw him at the Super Bowl. I didn't shotgun a beer, but we were there. Listening.
We were technically present at the Luke Combs.
So you did a half Kenny Pickett then.
Yeah,
you
man,
were
like
president, but no.
I'm second quarter Kenny Pickett. Fourth quarter Kenny Pickett is shotgunning the beer. I was second quarter Kenny Pickett, just cheering politely.
Can I relive a conversation from that concert?
Which one?
Coach Rick Neuheisel comes up to us and goes, "You guys are huge Luke Combs fans like me?" And we're like, "Yeah. We're huge Luke Combs fans." And we whisper, "It's Luke Combs, right?"
Yes. Perloff and I became fans that night. I mean, he's
awesome.
like the biggest act on the planet. That's you and I. That's our bad for not being more familiar with him. But he was amazing. His stage presence was fantastic. And nobody enjoyed that concert more than Rick Neuheisel.
Well, Rick Neuheisel, he likes football. He loves music.
Well,
yes.
Look, I mean, we're talking about Steelers needing an offensive coordinator. Maybe
Rick Neuheisel
with Kenny Pickett, and that's the combination we've been waiting for.
Put on fast car and just get out there and rock out.
Yeah, getting that no-huddle offense, baby, and let's get this ball moving. I asked on the social media chat on Twitch and YouTube about you guys' question about Kenny Pickett. We had one comment from Spencer Seeks via YouTube saying that he'll never be the GOAT, but with an offensive line, he could Eli a couple of Super Bowls, which I thought was an interesting comment.
Ooh, I like that.
And then Brian Camp from Twitch wrote, "I would agree he needs more time. Pittsburgh does this every season. They start off slow. Everyone calls for Tomlin to be fired, and then they end up in the playoffs. Bradshaw wasn't very good his first season either." So some defense early on for Kenny Pickett in the chats.
Mike Tomlin's going 500 or above. That's a fact. That's like,
Death in
EJ,
Texas.
in your terms, Thanos inevitable. I mean, Mike Tomlin's going to win at least 9 games. We start there. That's the baseline.
And right now they're 5-3. I mean, we'll see what happens with the Ravens this weekend, but they're 5-3 right now. Like they're right there.
They probably, if Kenny Pickett didn't get hurt, they probably would have beaten the Jaguars last week because Kenny Pickett would have found a way.
Exactly. Especially at home.
It's good. There were so many easy throws in the first half because the Titans are not great right now.
By the way, did you see the stat last night about the Titans haven't won a road game since last November?
Yeah. Well, remember they went on. Remember Tannehill got hurt and they lost their last 7 games.
No, I know, but that's pretty wild. Not winning a road game since last November against, I think they said Green Bay.
Yeah, I mean, they lost every game in the second half of the season.
But that's
remember they pulled in Josh Dobbs off the street toward the end
because Malik Willis.
Yeah, but the funny thing is
not so awesome.
They look. If you sort of squint, this looks like a really good team. You see Derrick Henry, you see DeAndre Hopkins, you see Simmons on defense, you see a young quarterback. That looks like kind of a playoff team.
Yeah, Danico Autry is always great.
I think if that team, I think they're probably regretting not going to Levis earlier because maybe they could have gotten a win or two. They're in an easy division. Now it seems a little too late to do anything. So they're not, you said tank all year long, and I totally understand that because they've been in limbo.
Yeah.
Now I don't think you need to tank anymore.
Well, I didn't know Levis was going to look like this. I mean, we were talking about last week he was going to be platooning with Malik Willis. It's like, that was clearly a smokescreen. If this guy looks as good as he did and his arm is amazing, why would he be platooning with Malik Willis? Like, it just seemed like the team didn't have that much faith. They only went to him because they were forced to because Tannehill has the high ankle sprain. Yeah, I mean, it's been 2 games. Maybe the defensive coordinators will see some tendencies and he'll come back to earth. I think he's taking a few too many hits already. Yeah, well, you do this against the Steelers defense. It's, Yeah, he got crunched a couple times. Yeah, it is very exciting. The 4 touchdowns against Atlanta, bit of an outlier. He's not going to be able to throw bombs on everyone. It is exciting, and he's a very good runner. You didn't see it last night. That was his thing in college. He's got a lot of weapons. Kenny Pickett, on the other hand, you go, little guy. You come back in the fourth quarter. It just looked like he was the 2nd-round quarterback, and Will Levis was the 1st-round quarterback last night. Very true. 855-212-4CBS. We're going to start talking a little bit about Will Levis and where he should have been drafted. If we're talking about other rookie quarterbacks, I think C.J. Stroud kind of has this thing right now. Yeah. But if Bryce Young continues to struggle, it's going to look like... Ooh, I don't know. Young's moving up on Stroud. Young's been much, much better. If you're talking redraft, I'm in. That's my favorite
piece of NFL content. Redraft. I'll read 2022 redraft. You know, when people put out who should have taken what. For some reason, that fascinates me.
Same here. I love those. I love those articles. I've done YouTube videos myself, redraft the NBA players. So yeah, it's.
Well, here we are.
Something that never gets old.
We're halfway through the season now. This is going to be the halfway point, so I think we are perfectly fine for a redraft right now. Let's get to some headlines. Peter Schwartz is here today for Andrew Bogusch. Good morning, Peter.
Good morning, guys. We'll start in Pittsburgh, where the Titans led the Steelers by 3 points in the fourth quarter.
First and goal at the 3. Pickett in the shotgun. Gets the snap. Looks right. Deontay Johnson wide open. Touchdown, Pittsburgh. The Steelers march it 92 yards to take the lead.
With just over 4 minutes left on the clock, Bill Hillgrove on Steelers radio, and the Steelers rally past the Titans 20-16. Head coach Mike Tomlin sums up the win.
I'm appreciative of the fight. We needed this one, and it's good to get it on a short week and be in the clubhouse, man, on a Thursday night with the necessary victory for the week. And so excited for them. We'll rest up, man, take advantage of the long weekend and begin our next process.
Kenny Pickett, 19 of 30, 190 yards. That game-winning touchdown pass as he battled through his rib injury.
Felt good. Shout out to our trainers, Gabe leading the way, helped me get ready to go, and Sonia and Dino. Short week, did a great job of helping me get ready, and I felt good.
Steelers improved to 5-3 with 4 of their wins coming after they were trailing entering the fourth quarter. Quan Alexander sealing the win, picking off Will Levis at the goal line with 6 seconds to go. And with the loss, head coach Mike Vrabel's Titans dropped to 3-5.
Just troubling to lose. Well, whether you're at home or on the road or in London, you lose. You put a lot into it, played hard. I think we played well enough in really any phase to take control of the game when we had an opportunity. Felt like we had some momentum and couldn't capitalize on it.
Titans.
I'm sorry, Peter. As the NFL continues to expand, comments like Vrabel's are going to get even more ridiculous. Like, I don't care where you lose. Home, road, London, Mexico,
Backyard.
Germany, China, Kazakhstan. Maybe we're going to play a game in India at some point. The moon. We lost that game on the moon. That was crazy.
Talking about high altitude.
We planned all week for that zero gravity.
Yeah, you could kick a 98-yard field goal on the moon.
An infinity field goal.
You can play on the football field out in the newsroom.
Yeah, right.
I could
exactly.
do that.
Lose in the newsroom.
Titans quarterback Will Levis threw for 262 yards. Now to the NBA. The NBA's first overall pick came up huge in the fourth quarter.
1:40 remaining in the game, and the Spurs lead by 10. Left wing Sohan, guarded by Bates Diop. High post, turnaround jumper, Wembanyama, it's good. He's got 38 points, and the Spurs lead 128-116. Since it was tied at 116, the Spurs on a 12-0 run, and Wemby's done most of the damage.
With 10 of those 12 points in that run, Bill Schoening on Spurs Radio.
Wait, Peter, are you aware of what's at stake here with Wemby's rookie season?
Rookie of the Year award?
Yes, and a big show bet attached to the rookie.
You guys are known for your big bets.
Yeah, I made but is looking now like a dangerous one. I'm going to drive to San Antonio and apologize to Wembanyama for saying he was going to be a bust.
Yeah,
if he wins Rookie of the Year.
I can go shotgun with you because I said the same thing.
Yeah.
You 127 hours in the car with Peter and
Just
Perloff?
volunteering this?
That's a buddy cop movie.
You're sending digital on this trip, too?
So you were thinking what I think. Nobody's 7'5" anymore and thrives in the NBA. This
like
is
a toothpick. I'm like,
he's like,
this guy's not going to be
push
any
this
good.
dude around.
Wait, the question is, though, are you a road trip guy? Because
I
27
love road.
hours.
I love to drive.
All right.
My wife hates to drive. I love to drive. Get me in a car,
There it
big,
is.
Big gulp next to me,
Luke Holmes on the radio.
Yeah, when it rains, it pours.
Mm-hmm.
I asked this earlier. Favorite road trip snack, Schwartz?
Twizzlers.
Oh.
Yeah, that's a
Not
good one.
bad.
That's good. That's a
They
good
last a long time.
That is the official Schwartz family. We gas up the jalopy and get on the road to go somewhere. The kids make sure, Mom, Dad, we got the Twizzlers in the car.
Yeah.
So,
just the original red.
yeah, the red ones, the long ones. The
vines?
they don't stop.
Wait. Maggie thinks that anyone on earth besides her likes black licorice. What do you mean the original red?
Horrible, Maggie.
Wait, I'm assuming you guys are eating red licorice.
Red ones,
Yeah, that's
red
the
ones.
fan favorite. You got the real OGs know about the black licorice. I get it flown in from Australia. It's like eating a tire.
That's torture to make someone.
thing, by the way, eating a tire.
Yeah, it's like give me a Michelin. I should chew on the licorice root. like a koala
Oh,
bear.
I hate the flavor. What's the liquor that has licorice in it? Sambuca?
Yeah,
Oh,
Sambuca.
the
Light that
worst.
thing on fire and look out. Maggie's on the table. Uh-oh.
Yes, give me my Twizzlers. The Spurs beat
Ouzo also tastes like licorice a little bit, yeah.
The Spurs beat the Suns 132-121 after they let a 27-point lead evaporate. Victor Wembanyama scoring 38 points. Spurs head coach Greg Popovich on his rookie.
He's a multifaceted player. I mean, he'll pass it to the open guy, but, he's got confidence in himself. And, he made some plays that were, unbelievable. So that combination is pretty good if you have that skill and you're still willing to pass.
And he had 10 rebounds and 2 assists in the game. Also in the association last night, Joel Embiid, 28 points, Sixers over the Raptors, 114-99. You had the Pelicans beating the Pistons, 125-116, and the Magic topped the Jazz, 115-113. If you did not watch any or much of the World Series, you are not alone. The Rangers-Astros Fall Classic, the least watched World Series in recorded TV history. The game, the series, 9.11 million viewers. That was worse than the 9.79 that watched, what was the one before that? That was the lowest rated.
Phillies Astros.
No.
Oh.
Maybe the bubble?
The
pandemic?
2020. Yeah.
Dodgers Rays,
Yeah.
2020. That was the least watched world.
There's a lot going on.
Well,
There's
it
a lot going on
surprises me because nobody could go anywhere. So you think people were home watching the World Series.
Yeah, same thing happened with the bubble, which
Yeah,
Perloff
NBA.
talked about last week.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, it didn't matter.
I think there was just a lot going on.
No,
People
I mean,
were
A lot
distracted.
of press conferences to watch
Yeah.
and statistics and numbers.
Watching
But
the news.
the reality, the Astros-Phillies was way down, too. I mean, these World Series ratings, this was not your ideal matchup, but this is a real thing. People are not, there's cord cutting, a lot of reasons.
What about the international numbers? Do we get those back?
I mean, 9 million. What do you think? The Jets are averaging 20 million a game, and
What
that's
do you
the
think
Jets.
What do you think the Cowboys-Eagles game this weekend?
33.
Yeah, 4:25 afternoon game.
Yeah.
Eastern.
Huge number.
It'll go over 30.
Huge number.
It'll be the number one game of the year, probably. Any Cowboys, Giants, and Giants that aren't even good will probably do 30.
Yeah.
It's crazy to think that just in 2016, because we had the Cubs and the Cleveland
Yeah.
Indians, you had 22.8 million.
And
we're
that
down
was,
to
and I mean,
9.
and that series delivered with a game 7 and
Yeah.
a crazy game
Yeah.
7.
Look at 1985, for example, or whatever. Pick a year from the 80s. It's probably 40 million or
Well,
something.
okay, but what if this series had gone 7 games?
Wouldn't
I
matter.
mean, it's 5 games. The series
Maybe a
was over.
tick up, not much.
Yeah.
I don't think so. Let me close with the NHL, and the defending Stanley Cup champions continue to roll.
Knight's going to steal out high. Remember, an empty net. Marchessault shoots. He scores! A hat-trick goal! The 6th hat-trick in Jonathan Marchessault's NHL career. 5-2 Vegas with under 3 minutes to go in the third period.
That was Dan Duve on Golden Knights Radio. The defending Stanley Cup champion Golden Knights are now 10-0-1 after a 5-2 win over the Jets. And there you go.
Peter, thank you so much, and we'll hear from you next hour as well. 855-212-4CBS. EJ, can I get some updated poll results? I know it's early, but how we looking?
So we asked the question earlier in the day, is Kenny Pickett the problem in Pittsburgh? So right now we're looking at 41.1% say yes, 58.9% say no.
All right.
Wait, you said it was going to be can Kenny Pickett win the Super Bowl for the Steelers?
Well,
What happened to that?
That was the first iteration, and then we had another question
Okay.
that became this question.
I think this is a little more like urgent. You know, Super Bowls that's
Oh.
far down the road.
But this is clearly a Super Bowl defense. And Kenny Pickett, second year, this is the window where you got to win it in your first 5 years. So I guess maybe the real question is, can he win it on his salary cap when he's in the first 5 years? And I don't know if he's that close. Also, he gets hurt every single game, it looks like.
It just feels like, to me, evaluating Pickett this early just still feels a little early. You know, he didn't, he started, I think week 4, last year. So he didn't have a full season last year. This year becomes his first full season as a starter. He was not the number 1 pick or the number 2 pick. This is a guy that was drafted later in the first round. It just feels like, I just feel like when we think about quarterbacks, he kind of reminds me of Joe Flacco a little bit, where I feel like if you're going to be writing him off in year 2, just feels a little too early to me.
One thing, he's 25. He's older than Jordan Love. He's older than a lot of these guys. The second thing is he hasn't taken a step from last year. I think he looked a little better last year. Might be health oriented, might be play calling oriented, but you thought first year or second year he would take a big leap. And he's not terrible. I'm just saying, I'm putting it in Super Bowl terms.
Yeah.
Is this the guy who's going to beat Patrick Mahomes in a playoff game?
Last night was his 21st game starting. 21st game as a starter. He's now 12-9 overall. Can he beat Patrick Mahomes? No, but can anyone beat Patrick Mahomes? I mean, Josh Allen can't beat Patrick Mahomes. Like, if we're all only going to say, can you beat the Chiefs? Like, then a lot of guys are going to come up short in that conversation.
Yeah, but year 2, Big Ben won the Super Bowl, I believe. Joe Burrow, year 2, got to the Super Bowl. This is when you make the leap. There's no time to waste here.
But what do we say about Ben Roethlisberger in that Super Bowl?
He played bad, but the game before, he torched.
He played really well. But
also, Ben could run back then. The reason the Steelers were elite that year was Ben, in my opinion.
Well, but a lot of the sort of, kind of thought on that Super Bowl is that the Steelers won it in spite of Ben, that they had to make up for a lot of his shortcomings.
The Super Bowl, but during the year, Ben was really great. And Pickett has been, and it was also a long time ago. Not everybody had huge numbers. Kenny Pickett's in a much more passing league, and he's okay, but you have to be great. I think you have to be great at passing now. You can't use that formula to win, can you? I mean,
we look at the last quarterbacks to win a Super Bowl not named Tom Brady since 2010.
Yeah, what do you got?
Patrick Mahomes, Nick Foles, old Peyton Manning, Russell Wilson, Joe Flacco, Eli Manning, and Aaron Rodgers. Those are
but look at the last 5 years. Stafford can sling
Mahomes, and Nick Foles.
Yeah, Nick
Foles had he played great. And I think sometimes the question becomes, do you see Kenny Pickett playing that well in a game like that? Like, maybe he doesn't have to play that well for 4 or 5 games in a row because they have a great defense, but once you get to the Super Bowl, you're going to need those big-time performances. Can he rise his game up to that level? We weren't sure about Nick Foles. Nick Foles answered the bell. We didn't know about Eli Manning. He answered the bell.
Yeah.
That could end up being the question about Pickett is when a team needs him to play above maybe his level, can he get to that level?
855-212-4CBS. I still think he can. I still think he's capable of it. Perloff is not sold. 855-212-4CBS. Okay, a lot more to do, including the latest twist and turn with the Michigan sign-stealing scandal. Yes, there is more news, more new information to come out just from the time from you went to bed last night from when you woke up this morning. So we will get that to you in just minutes. Don't move. Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff reacting off of a squeaker of a game last night, but the Pittsburgh Steelers moved to 5-3. The offense looked a little better. Perloff thinks that Kenny Pickett is the problem holding the offense back. I think it's still just the general philosophy of the offense and the fact that Pickett is young and had broken ribs or injured ribs. Will Levis clearly looks like the future for Tennessee, but did throw a game-sealing interception at the end of the game. But that almost didn't even matter because it feels like the proof is there with Levis through 2 games that he can play in this league.
Oh, yeah. I mean, their problem was they couldn't get the ball in the end zone last night. He has a connection with Hopkins that the other quarterbacks in Tennessee apparently didn't. Everything looked easier with him. Quarterback, here's the thing. He stays in the pocket forever, which is admirable, but how are you going to last? He's one of these guys who's so big. I think he has a little bit of false confidence. He's going to learn you got to throw the ball out of bounds.
Turning to the college ranks, we get another update on our Michigan scandal.
I got a one-track mind. I'm not going to be speculating and let others speculate that.
It's time for Maize and Clue.
New spy sensation sweeping the nation, Maize and Clue. We try to piece together everything that's going on with this Michigan sign-stealing scandal like we're James Bond or something.
I can't even keep track. I came in this morning, I'm like, all right, what's the latest?
Well, glad you asked. The latest is Purdue head coach Ryan Walters. Of course, Michigan's going to be playing Purdue this weekend. He is the latest to come out and, go on the record to call out Michigan. He said on Thursday, it's unfortunate. What's crazy is they weren't allegations in terms of the sign stealing. He said it happened. There's video evidence. There's ticket purchases and sales you can track that go back. We know for a fact they were at a number of our games, so we've had to teach our guys a new language in terms of some signals. a number of the games. You're a 32.5-point favorite. Why do you need to be scouting Purdue in this way?
Because we've seen Purdue trip up good teams before, Ohio State famously a couple years ago. I don't know. If you're going to cheat against one team, you got to cheat against everybody. What are you talking about?
I just think it's ridiculous. This is getting to the point where, I mean, how big does this web of lies, go? You had Connor Stallions, the guy who's at the center of this, stealing signs. He's deputizing other people to go and videotape games. That's already been out there. Someone sang like a canary to the NCAA investigators. Like, there is so much smoke here. Clearly, this was big.
Okay, we've established that this was happening. Now, to me, the interesting thing is, does anyone have the guts to do anything about it? Like the Big Ten, the NCAA, Michigan itself, maybe the president of the school. Who's going to step up and say, hey, there's going to be action here? I bet nobody.
I don't think. Can I say too early to tell?
Yeah, you could say that.
I think they are going to do something. Okay, so I don't think it's going to be the president of the school. No way. That guy will get run out of town. They just got there. I think that it's going to have to be the Big Ten. And I think it's going to be something that's going to feel like a slap on the wrist, but it's going to be a little just meat to the wolves now that are the other Big Ten coaches and athletic directors. Because don't forget, the update from yesterday was the Big Ten coaches, the Big Ten athletic directors have all been talking to the Big Ten commissioner, basically venting, kvetching, whatever you want to say. They want Michigan punished.
Absolutely. But
now they want to punish.
The Big Ten has a major incentive to have Michigan be good and probably go to the Final Four. I don't know if they get money directly, but they certainly elevate the brand of the Big Ten. So they have a lot of reasons not to do it. We're all savvy enough. We'll know a slap on the wrist, Maggie. I think they'll get killed if they try a slap on the wrist, like suspend them for that one bad game. They have Maryland coming up. They're like, oh, you can't be on the sideline in Maryland. Who cares? So I honestly, if I'm Michigan right now, I say it's us against the world. Yes, you caught us cheating, but we're going to show you we don't need the signs. We can beat you. I hope. For my friends who are Michigan fans.
For Purdue, I think you're going to be okay.
Yeah, definitely.
But this is all about Ohio State now. I mean, and Penn State,
yeah.
Pardon me. I think they're going to do something. I think they're going to have to satisfy and satiate. And I think perhaps maybe the Big Ten is thinking, all right, if we give them a slap on the wrist or we do something, maybe some of this actually goes away a little bit. Like maybe it calls the dogs off a little.
Yeah.
That'd be flawed thinking. But
there is a bunch of people sitting in a conference room right now saying, how do we penalize them without penalizing them?
Exactly, which I don't know if that's like a great solution. Yeah, EJ.
And I don't know if it's going to satisfy these other schools. I mean, you had the Pete Thamel report from last night saying that there was another video call with the Big Ten ADs and the commissioner, and essentially they said that this conversation took a distinctly different tenor than the one they had a week ago, saying that they believe that the ability to punish Michigan is being taken more seriously than ever before.
They have this sort of, it's like a sportsmanship clause that apparently, it's kind of like other commissioners who have like for the good of the game clause or whatever. It just gives very wide latitude. Now, you don't want to overreach, of course, because it's still an ongoing investigation. But these NCAA investigations, I mean, they take longer than Congress. Like it's going to be the year 2030 by the time we figure this out.
But that is a real danger that they lay down the hammer now without knowing all the facts. Because if something comes out every day, then what do we even know?
Well, I guess what the coaches are saying is, what more facts do you need? You got the receipts that he's traveling to games. You know that another guy came forward, this coach at this Division III school says, yes, this guy Connor Stallions paid me to go to a game to steal the signs of the Michigan opponent. Like you kind of have several smoking guns. You just don't have Jim Harbaugh at the scene of the crime. But don't you? I mean, we're all smart enough.
Okay, we're all smart enough. But this is college football, a sport that has lived on cheating for 100 years. Well, I don't know if it's 100 years, but it's a sport of lies. College football coaches have been living on the big lie, not paying players for decades. Yeah. So I don't think you can all of a sudden lay down a hammer at the end point of a season. It's really hard to do that. I think of Cam Newton in 2011. He was caught red-handed with recruiting violations. They weren't going to kick Auburn out of the title game.
Well, it was his parents, too. It's not like Cam Newton was there taking a suitcase full of money.
But it was the team. It's not Cam Newton himself. I'm saying the team broke the rules, and you couldn't take them out of the title game.
No, they didn't. But remember, it was. I thought it was that a different school had offered Cam $250,000. Remember, there was something wonky about that. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Coming up, the biggest game of the weekend, arguably, in Germany. Have the Dolphins closed the gap on the Chiefs? And your phone calls next. Don't move.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. 15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
He's destined to get knocked out by Jake Paul. She's destined to film it. They are Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
Welcome to the show. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. Steelers get another win at home against a rookie quarterback. That was not surprising. What is the conversation that's come from the game, Perloff, which is you and I seeing this very differently about Kenny Pickett. Now, he did have one of his signature fourth quarter touchdown drives right when you needed it. They were trailing going into the fourth quarter, as they seem to always be this year. But I don't see Pickett as the problem. Is he the solution right now? Well, he's playing with broken ribs, and he's a guy in his second year, so there's still a long way to go for him. And this offense is just kind of uninspiring. Last night, they were able to run the ball really well, and they kind of just went with that. Yeah. But you think he's holding them back?
Well, the problem is not exactly how I would put it. I think this is a Super Bowl team if they had an A- or a B+ quarterback. And I think right now Kenny Pickett's a clear B-, C+. He's inaccurate. You saw about 5 passes in the first half especially. Yeah. The guy's right in front of him, and he either sailed it or he didn't see some open guys. It just doesn't feel like they have a modern passing offense. And the numbers belie that. They're in the bottom 5 of the league in passing. They haven't been even able to run the ball consistently until last night. So that's a huge improvement for them. I get this fourth quarter heroics thing. It's incredible. I think he's getting compared to Tom Brady in the fourth quarter.
Well,
and that's just the fact that numbers-wise, he already has 6 fourth quarter comeback wins.
In his career, yeah.
But the guys who get the most fourth quarter comeback wins are guys like Kirk Cousins and Justin Herbert, guys who are always in close games, get the most fourth quarter comeback wins. So it's not that impressive of a stat.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's a double-edged sword because, like, why did you need this fourth quarter comeback?
Yeah.
Shouldn't you have been leading by 2 scores and you wouldn't have needed something like this? But he does have that sort of thing that you need when the game is on the line. And so with that and with a great defense, I think that combination can get you pretty far. And right now they're in second place in their own division. Only the Ravens are better. And they do look like a playoff team because it's only going to get colder and crappier conditions where you're going to have to rely on the run game more and the defense can close out games for you.
Definitely a playoff team. But look at that playoff. Once again, the playoffs. Look at the quarterbacks Kenny Pickett's going to have to go against. Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Tua, if Tua is healthy. That is 5 incredible mismatches right now.
Can I ask you something? Because I think that the expectations for this Steelers team changed in the preseason.
Why is that?
Because I don't think going into the year, I don't think people are like, who's a Super Bowl team? The Steelers. And then they had this incredible preseason. Yeah. Beat the Bills, beat a couple other teams, and they look so good. And then people like you started picking them for the Super Bowl. You would have never, ever put them as a Super Bowl contender before that.
They have the formula, though. A quarterback on a rookie deal, jumping from first year to second year is exactly how you get to the Super Bowl. And Mike Tomlin has the pedigree, and the defense is amazing. TJ Watt's, if not the consistent defensive player of the year, he's right there. So they have everything going for them. You thought Pickett was going to take a jump, and honestly, he was better last year.
No, he was, but
healthier too, so that might be why.
I think the ribs have something to do with it. We hear this all the time from quarterbacks about how that injury impacts them even more than, say, like an ankle sprain or something like that. And then the other part is I think Matt Canada still is a problem. I mean, the guy came from the booth down to the sideline. You scored 20 points, and people are acting like they just, were the Dolphins laying 50, a 70-point win. Winning by 50 over the Broncos. Like it's like a celebration. You're popping champagne because you scored 2 offensive touchdowns.
It just looks so hard on offense. Again, I guess it depends on what you expect from the team. If you look at them at 11-6 making the wild card would be a good season, then fine. Enjoy that. But you have TJ Watt at his prime. You should have a good offensive line. You haven't this year. You have Joey Porter Jr. is coming to his own, a rookie cornerback. You know what did hurt them? Minkah Fitzpatrick being out is a huge loss. Hopefully he'll come back. There's just too many all-pros on defense not to have a quarterback who's going to take you as far as you can go.
855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Is Kenny Pickett what is holding back the Steelers offense? I say no. Perloff says yes. Let us know what you think. Again, 855-212-4227. You can always go vote in our poll, which is at Maggie and Pearl on Twitter X, which is Kenny Pickett the problem on offense. So,
love how hard it is to figure out how to say Twitter these days. Calling it X feels weird.
I know. Calling it X makes
I call
me
it
feel
Twitter.
Calling it X makes me feel like Elon Musk won. You know?
Can never let that happen.
Can't let this happen.
No.
This guy's going for world domination.
We got to have some kind of pushback.
Right. This is all we have. This is the revolution right now. Okay. Big game this weekend. Got a couple of them, but this one really stands out. And unfortunately, it's happening in Germany. And I don't say that as any affront to anyone in Germany. It's just, why is this game, Dolphins-Chiefs, have to be at 9:30 a.m. Eastern, 6:30 a.m. Pacific time, when this is a marquee game, Perloff, and they knew that going into the season.
All good for me. What's your problem? This is awesome. I get to watch football in the morning. It's a whole day of incredible football.
I don't want this game. It's one thing to be played on a neutral field. It's another to be played on a neutral field in a foreign country because there's still like no rhyme or reason to how teams get up for this game. You had the Dolphins who showed up basically like a week ago, and you had the Chiefs who showed up like a day ago. Nobody knows how to do this body clock thing when it comes to these games in Europe, and I just don't think you're getting the true, like, who these teams really are, because the fact that it's in Germany just adds this whole other element that makes it a wild card. Like, we don't get to see the real thing.
So you're saying you should put the lesser teams there?
I was thinking maybe games that are not like deciding the AFC home field playoffs, perhaps.
This is not going to decide the home field playoffs, is it? You think it will?
It might. I think that I think the Dolphins have closed the gap on the Chiefs this year. Now the Chiefs are doing it differently. Yes.
Have the Dolphins looked good against any good team this year?
Well, that's why this game's important.
Well, even if they do, we're going to say it's Germany. So I don't think they can prove it. You're right. It is a shame this game is there, but the Dolphins, we just don't know yet. We have to see them sort of get in a phone booth and fight with a good team. They have not done it yet.
No, they haven't. I mean, listen, all these division games are always a little tougher than you might think, right? So playing New England close or whatever. I think that Bills game was a little bit of an anomaly. They had just come off of scoring 70 points against the Broncos. History will say there's going to be a letdown there. That game was in Buffalo. You're right. I mean, they did not look great against your Philadelphia Eagles, and that was the big test so far.
Yeah, I mean, the Patriots game last week was pretty close the whole game. Their offense was not quite what we expected running ball. The key, I think, is not Tua throwing it. They have to have that crazy run game with Achane, and it's just not quite consistent enough, in part because an offensive lineman gets hurt every game. I know Armstead's coming back. Can they stay healthy?
So I think this is actually a perfect time because they are getting healthier. So you mentioned Armstead coming back, and you hope that's consistent. But the fact that they have Jalen Ramsey came back last week and had an interception. You got Xavier Howard coming back. Like, this is the time where the Dolphins, it's almost like they had acquisitions at the trade deadline because they're getting their own guys back. And I think that Kansas City's offense, which looked pretty bad against the Denver Broncos last week in Mile High. Well, now you have another weird scenario. It's not Mile High, but it's going to Germany. This offense doesn't look as good as we're used to, and this is where the Dolphins, I think, close the gap. Their defense is getting better, and their offense is way more explosive than the Chiefs.
I understand what you're saying, but back to health, they have 6 players on their starting offense who are listed as questionable right now. They are one of those teams who feels really fragile. Yes, if all these players are on the field at the end of the season, Tyreek Hill, Tua, unbelievable. I just don't think the way that they play football, this is going to last. I know that sounds sort of fatalistic and doomsaying about the Dolphins. I want to see this team. I just don't think it's going to be there at the end of the season.
See, I think their defense is good and getting so much better that ensures they will be there. Can we hear Pete from Tyreek Hill, please? Says he wishes this game was in Kansas City, but he still has plans to dominate.
Obviously, it would have been great to play in KC, but it really doesn't matter where we play at. You feel me? They're going to get this work wherever, though.
Hey, tell us what you really think. Yeah, he's planning a big day against his former team, and he has big days against everybody, so why not?
Well, the Chiefs' defense looked totally different this year. I think that's why Taylor Swift got on board with the Chiefs, because she finally saw that they could play complementary football.
Yeah, she's really just a Steve Spagnuolo fan.
I'm wondering, do the Chiefs know how to slow down Tyreek Hill? Is that the one team that is actually mastered this? Because there's no solution. Even the Eagles, who are a very good defense, had no idea. Do you lay back on him and let him beat you in front of you, or do you risk him getting behind you? And he always gets behind you. I don't know how he does it.
Yeah, because he's so fast going like left to right or whatever, east to west. Like it's not just the north to south stuff. He also runs away from you just in the middle of the field.
Right. He catches an 8-yard pass and boom, he's gone, and you just can't. It's unbelievable. Again, we mentioned this earlier with TJ Watt. Would you be okay with voting a Tyreek Hill as the MVP of the league?
I don't have a problem with that.
I don't either. I think he's going to make a real case this year.
He will, and especially because he's probably going to break the single season receiving record. Now, it's with the 17th game, but maybe the Dolphins don't have anything to play for in Week 17. Maybe he even sits Week 17 and could still break the record. I don't know.
Well, this is an interesting test this week, because if anybody can figure out how to stop him, Andy Reid kind of created Tyreek Hill. He should be able to slow them down. If he can torch the Chiefs the way the Chiefs are playing this year, then he can torch anybody.
I love they asked him for advice on how do you stop the Chiefs offense, and he was like, follow Kelsey. It's like, thanks. No kidding. That's been the number one thing for like 5 years now. Tyreek Hill also said he expects there to be a lot of trash talking in the game.
It's going to be trash talk, but it's going to be fun, though. It's going to be like, I want to see you do good, but we're going to bust your ass at the same time, though. Like, it's going to be one of those things, like backyard football with your brothers.
That's Tyreek Hill. So expecting a lot of trash talk and expecting, as he said, Chiefs are going to get that work.
I mean, honestly, you have to take him seriously at this point. He can back it up. I think he will. It's an interesting weekend. I'm glad that they're putting this window, because we have 3 or 4 big time games this week. So I have to get this game out of the way. I'm okay with this. You don't like the early morning?
No, come on. We got families. Like, please. I want to just be able to sit down and watch this. I don't want to have my kid running around and me having to be mommy.
So my kids are older now, 11, 13.
Oh, they're sleeping through this.
Yeah, my 13-year-old's not even going to be awake. This is perfect for me because I really got to focus this weekend. Table's got to be cleared by 4:25 Eastern for Eagles Cowboys. I can't be distracted by Tyreek Hill versus his old team. And when it's the other game, Seattle Baltimore 1. To me, you get that, and then you get your Bills at night. So big windows, 4 straight games. It's going to be a wonderful Sunday.
I think the poll question is, should have the Dolphins close the gap on the Chiefs? And I would be voting a yes on that. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. I also think it's part of it. I think Dolphins are getting the Chiefs at a good time. They scored, 9 points last week? I mean, clearly something with the offense is not right.
Well, you just hope Patrick Mahomes was sick and last week was a one-off and his stomach's feeling better.
Nothing like after you get over a stomach flu. Just a nice flight to Germany. That's always a good way to recover.
Yeah, and those rich German foods and sauerkraut and bratwurst. I don't know if Mahomes is going to
settle a stomach.
Probably not. Beer might help. I just think that last week was a total anomaly because of the sickness. You could see him; he was just off. I'm not sure. The problem with this game is, how sometimes it's frustrating to people where I say, "Oh, that loss doesn't matter." People are going to say, "Oh, that was Germany; it doesn't count." I think people are going to think that this game is not an indicator for what's going to happen in the playoffs. There's this other reality. Say Miami does beat Kansas City, and they face each other again in the postseason. Doesn't that partly say to you, "Ooh, they're not going to beat them twice"? Maybe it's hard to beat a really good team twice, and
but again,
the numbers show that.
Germany game doesn't matter. EJ, you look like you want to get in this conversation.
I think for me, when it comes, first of all, with Tyreek Hill, in terms of records, remember, he's over 1,000 yards through just 8 weeks, which I think is the most ever. So he's still, even in the 16-week season or 16-game season, he'd be on track to break that record. I just feel like with Miami, we talked about earlier that they haven't beat anybody good, essentially.
Right.
Remember, the good teams they played were on the road. So if we're talking about the importance of this game, I think it is important because if they get home field, and they could avoid going into a cold Kansas City, a cold Buffalo.
Yeah, cold
that could change
Cincinnati,
Cincinnati,
Baltimore. Yep,
that changed the entire dynamic of the games they can be playing in the postseason. So maybe they don't have to beat anybody good on the road during the regular season, but if they can get those teams at home in the postseason, I think that's an entirely different ballgame.
Man, it's just so funny because it's been so long since we've been talking about a Miami Dolphins home playoff game.
No, you're talking about Chad Pennington throwing like 5 picks against Ray Lewis and the Ravens, decade plus ago.
I got to tell you, the Dolphins have a tough road. They have a tougher schedule. I think Kansas City, I actually don't have Kansas City's schedule in front of me. I got to assume it's easier for them in the AFC West than the Dolphins. I know they play the Cowboys and the Ravens and
there's some
all sorts of teams.
It's kind of a mixed bag here for the Dolphins. So you got this game, of course. Then you get the Raiders next. Who knows what the Raiders are going to look like? You're at the Jets, which is probably a tough game, but I don't know.
That might be a tough game because the Jets will make it ugly.
But you're at Washington, Tennessee, Jets again, and then the end here is Dallas at Baltimore and then Buffalo. And that game against the Bills is either going to mean everything or nothing. So who knows?
It's a long road till we start talking about home field right now. I think that's a great point, EJ, but I'm not seeing the Dolphins like everybody else is. Because I know the Dolphins are second in the AFC in Super Bowl odds. Maybe because I saw the Eagles game. I'm not sure they're tough and physical enough to really be a number 1 seed. They're going to have to beat Baltimore, I think, in that Week 17 game to get the number 1 seed. Can you see them going into Baltimore when it's cold in December?
Well, again, to EJ's point, like they might be the team that needs the home field advantage the most or would benefit the most. We talk about, Kansas City, Buffalo, Cincinnati, getting those games, but it might be Miami.
I think Baltimore has a great angle to get the number 1 seed too, because they feel much like the 14-2 season with Lamar Jackson, where they can just get on a roll. Again, I'm a prove it in the playoffs Baltimore guy, but I'm not so sure that we're really talking about Miami versus KC in the AFC, because I think there are other teams in that mix.
Yeah, not easy for Baltimore, though. Again, Seattle this weekend, and then, of course, you got your Cleveland, your Cincinnati. They also have to play at Jacksonville and at San Francisco.
Ooh, that's rough.
That's going to be a Monday night game. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Let's go to Brian. He's in Arkansas. Good morning, Brian.
Hey, Maggie. Hey, Perloff. I listen to your show, new to listening to your show for the past couple of weeks, and I will say that, Perloff, I know you're an Eagles fan. I'm a gigantic Cowboys fan. So
gotcha.
I'm looking forward to the game myself. I don't know what Dak I'm going to get, but hopefully I get the Dak that actually wins. And again, it's not that he's bad. It's just that they believe in Gallup too much. I think that's a big problem for us.
They believe in Dak too much?
Gallup.
Oh, Gallup.
Gallup.
Yeah,
sorry, Brian, you were kind of fading in and out
Yeah.
there. Good luck to your Cowboys.
Yeah, I mean, Dak has played very well against the Eagles. And the Eagles, this is going to sound like such a cop-out. They can afford to lose this game. I think more so than the Cowboys. I think the Eagles...
What are you talking about? You're fighting for the division.
Nah, it's just that this seems to mean more to the Cowboys. It feels like there's more pressure on the Cowboys to come up and prove they can win this game. The Eagles are 7-1 right now. I just think that if they lose this game, everyone's going to be like, it's just a regular season game. They'll be there at the end.
Well, because that's your Philadelphia delusion talking.
Well, the Eagles approved it in the playoffs. The Cowboys approved it in the regular season. I think that's a general way to look at this game.
Okay, but I'm going to be honest. I get why you're feeling good, and you should be feeling good, the Eagles, but you don't want these games on the road, man.
What's the difference? You got the tush push in December, it's January. This is going to be unstoppable.
You talk a big game now. I think the home field definitely benefited you. Also, you got to play the Giants in the second round last year. They were a joke. And then you got to play the San Francisco 49ers, and they had no quarterback after the first 2 drives of the game, basically.
And what's going to change about that? The Cowboys are going to lose to the Niners in the second round. The Eagles will get Detroit indoors, and that's a matchup I like a lot. I think the Eagles... You know what I'm saying, though? There's just so much more on the line for Dak Prescott and the Cowboys. No one's wondering if the Eagles are elite. Everyone is wondering, who is Dak Prescott? Who are these Cowboys? I feel like they're the team under the microscope here.
Well, they're always the team under the microscope because they're Dallas. But you're right about Dak Prescott. Very good against the Eagles. 8-3 in his career, passing for 68% on his passes, 19 touchdowns with 8 picks. So you do have a few interceptions there, obviously. But Very good numbers.
Yeah, and
He's also been sacked a ton against the Eagles, but very good numbers.
Right, very good numbers, a lot of wins, but that, again, has never translated into anything for the Cowboys. Yeah, they've beaten their arch rival during the regular season. Show me in the playoffs.
855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Okay, we do have a lot more for you, including one of these games of the week. Who needs it more against two? These are AFC rivals. We talked about the Chiefs and Dolphins. Got another big game in the AFC coming up on Sunday as well. Don't move. Maggie and Perloff and you on CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. 30 seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
We're back here on Maggie and Perloff. Another difficult night of sports watching for me.
Why?
Well, because I have one primary TV, so to flip out of Amazon to watch other games is a pain in the butt.
Amazon is going to be doing the Super Bowl, and Perloff's still going to be complaining about this.
And then I'm like,
just, you got to live with it, man.
This is what happened. So I tried to go to my computer, which I've been doing to watch the Amazon game, because I was watching Sixers Raptors, and then I got caught up in a little college football. And my wife changed the Amazon password. I couldn't pull it up on my computer.
Oh no! Why? She's trying to curtail your.
Yeah,
spending?
I guess she changed. We change passwords all the time. We're pretty good about that. And so I had to flip out, and then I missed something. It was terrible. Sixers won. If anybody cares.
Your wife's out of town, right? So she changed the password and then dipped. Did she not tell you?
No, yes, she changed it. Would you tell your husband if you changed the password? Because I never tell anybody that kind of thing.
Why would you not tell anybody?
I'm not good about changing
because for some reason you have to change the Wi-Fi password or something. What do you just change it, then you forget about it. You don't go around and tell everyone in the house, hey, I changed the Wi-Fi password. I'll be lucky if I even write it down.
Oh no, that is a must. I don't live with my family anymore, but like we obviously share passwords for various different apps, services, whatever. So there's a group text that whenever password gets changed, like we all got to know. And in fact, it becomes an issue that when we try to log into something and nobody knows what the password is, everybody's like, hey, what the hell happened? And then someone has to fess up to what they did.
All right, it's now Zach Wilson 1 2 3 4 5.
But that's amazing that you do that. Actually, we should do that because we're terrible at that. I have this habit. I'll change a password and just completely forgot that I changed the password.
You're such a guy.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's such a dude thing. I would so accuse my husband. Like if he ever did that, he'd be like, "You're such a dude. How could he not tell us?" But it sounds like EJ's family, they're a little more considerate.
We're very. It's a very important thing because we have now, 4 or 5 now adults, now 6 now legal adults in the household. So like everybody has services of different things, but we all share.
Yeah.
So it's important to keep the communication going. So we're very consistent with, hey, this password has to be changed because of X, Y, and Z, or we're just changing it just to change it. Like that communication is important because
Perloff,
you're
also just you're leaving your family hanging there. Like you changed the password, now it's Jalen Hurts forever, and nobody knows about it.
Well, by the way, okay, you can blame me. EJ's out there texting passwords. I know enough about internet security to know that is not a good idea.
I keep them as notes in my phone, and I know that's wrong.
Same here.
But I don't know where else to put them.
I mean, that is even dumber.
Hey, can I just also...
You don't remember passwords.
How about this? Can I just put out like a PSA to every company that's asking me to put a password? Unless it's my bank account or my Wi-Fi or something like that. Do I need a password just to sign into my Starbucks app? Do I need a password for the gym that I go to? Like, I don't need a password for all this stuff. You guys are taking yourself way too seriously.
If you don't have a password for your Starbucks app, then anybody can use your Starbucks app.
How?
I have 500 to me, also, to pay bills, you need about 300 passwords.
I know.
Every time I go to the dentist, I have to forgot password.
It's crazy. Yeah. Since when do you need a password for the dentist? I get it, but I guess paying bills is one thing that they do have your credit card information. I don't know. I just feel like I don't need passwords for all this stuff. Just let me pay.
Let me just get this straight. You want to put your credit card information into your Starbucks app and then have it just open with no password. So anybody can use it. You know how easy it is to hack a Starbucks app even with a password?
I don't know. I just find that I don't need this many passwords in my life for the stuff that's just not important. How about this? I can just enter my credit card information.
Now I'll tell you one thing. Not just a password. I want an alert on my phone for any time there's an unusual I get alerts all the time. I have a lot of alerts set up.
I know.
Two-fold process.
You got to do the two-factor verification.
You a two-factor verification, dude? Oh, yeah.
Jeez, you guys are like the freaking White House over here. No, Perloff always gets these alerts that like his Shake Shack app, which is a fast food chain on the East Coast, the Shake Shack app has been alerted. It's like, it's definitely your 13-year-old daughter. It's always one of your kids.
Well, if I was going to rob someone's credit card number, I would immediately go to Shake Shack. So I assume most people who steal credit cards, the first stop is Shake Shack.
Probably. I don't know.
But you could have all the passwords you want. If someone really wants to get into your thing, I mean, we had our bank account hacked a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's awful. I mean,
it's just terrible.
It's devastating. I mean, banks have been very good, I feel like, about putting the money right back in right away.
Oh, we got it back. I'm just saying, it's a pain in the neck.
Oh, it's the worst. It actually, that won our Maggie and Perloff bracket of things that are the worst. Getting hacked was number one.
It is the absolute worst. I remember I had one of my Facebook pages for a podcast I do got hacked, and essentially it just became they changed the profile picture, and it just became ads for like random like
porn.
No, like Chinese like food, like Chinese food, like Chinese items. It was all in like Chinese or Japanese lettering, and it was all very weird, kind of like ads for items that I wasn't posting. So that
you're now Alibaba. Congratulations.
Yeah, and the fact that they paid for these ads with my information, so like it was like $500 worth. Of
Listen,
ads.
they realized they can scam Knicks fans. That's what it was. They targeted you. Knicks fans have been buying this BS for years. They might as well buy our actual BS items.
The worst.
If you had to rank the show on who has the best internet security, who would you guess?
Not me.
So you're not good,
I'm
Mike?
flying blind
I think it's
out there.
EJ, I think it sounds like you now know what you're doing here.
Well, a lot of this is all from Mama Stewart, because she's like very into the two-step verification.
The fact that your mom knows two-step verification, I just want to like stand and give her a round of applause.
Oh, she's been on this for years.
Oh my gosh.
I think she got hacked once, and it was years ago, not recently. And she was like, all right, everything we're doing now, two-step verification. On our Netflix, we had to actually put a passcode. So if you want to watch something on Netflix, you have to enter a passcode before you even watch it.
Your mom is like, she's going to start going on the offensive now. She's going to be like Connor Stallions. Like, now I'm showing up at your house, hackers, and I'm watching what you do, and I'm hacking your stuff.
Yeah, she should be like, counter-terror security, cybersecurity.
We got the best people on those walls. It's EJ's mom.
That's great that EJ's mom knows a two-step verification, and my mother thinks the app store's in the wall.
My mom, I don't know if my mom's AOL account has a two-step verification.
I still have AOL.
Oh, you're kidding, right?
My personal email address is still AOL.com.
Wow.
Why?
So you're last.
Well, because I had an email address that I used for everything, and I just didn't want to change it. I didn't want to inconvenience people that needed to send me an email. So I have kept the same email address for like 20 years. Like, I don't want to change it because I don't want to have to tell people that my email address changed.
Don't people give you a hard time for having an AOL email? Like, make fun of you?
Yes, especially Boomer and Geo down the hall. Absolutely,
I mean, especially because it's Sugar Daddy 875, which is really kind of odd for Peter, Thought it'd be something a little more professional.
One of my issues is that because I actually had an AOL email up until my grad school years. I said, I gotta graduate from this. But I made my school email my primary email because they sold it saying, hey, this will be an email you can keep forever. Like, it's a Gmail account that has your name. You'll always have to keep it. But now, 32 years old, and it's, CUNY.edu email address. And it's just like, it's a little awkward when as you get older and removed from college. Now I'm teaching, so it kind of works. But up until last year, people are like, oh, you're a student? And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
When did you graduate? 2014.
It's been a while.
Why do you still have a school of journalism account as your email address?
I know. We got a little failure to launch there. Peter's here with some headlines.
Yes.
You got mail.
Yes. At least you don't hear the dial-up internet in my email anymore. Week 9 in the NFL kicked off last night in Pittsburgh. Kenny Pickett with a 3-yard touchdown pass to Deontay Johnson with 4:02 to go in the fourth quarter to give the Steelers a 4-point lead over the Titans. And all the Steelers had to do was hold on.
Wide side to his left. Slot that way on 3rd and 5 at the 19 with 11 seconds to go. Here's the snap. 4-man rush. He looks. He fires for the end. Intercepted! And that is Quan Alexander. His first of the season. And this game is over.
Bill Hillgrove on Steelers Radio. Steelers improved to 5-3, beat the Titans 2016. Pickett was able to fight through his rib injury to complete 19 of 30 passes for 190 yards. Head coach Mike Tomlin not shocked that Pickett came through.
Nothing that he does from an intangible perspective or toughness perspective surprises me. I think that we're all really comfortable about those qualities in him and, his desire to rise up big for us in moments and be significant down the stretch. Can't say enough about it.
Pickett was upright all evening as he was not sacked in the game. He credits his offensive line for a job well done.
I know they did a great job protecting run game, backs hitting the hole really hard, and running downhill and getting north-south, which was great to see. Getting guys in the end zone, having explosive runs. So it was a good day for the guys up front.
And the Steelers now the 29th team since 1970 to be outgained in their first 8 games, and the only one that has a winning record. Meanwhile, quarterback Will Levis and the Titans dropped to 3-5.
Losing sucks, especially at this level. It's just so hard to win games, and when you got an opportunity like that to win it at the end and it doesn't happen, it makes it feel a whole lot worse. But, credit to them. They made the plays when they needed to, and we didn't. Got to get back to work.
How much do you think, sorry, Peter, that the Titans may have been shaken up a little bit because Treylon Burks had to leave the game at the end on a stretcher?
Yeah, I can't imagine that wouldn't have an effect on anybody.
It has to rattle you, right? And that was such a bizarre play because it wasn't like a helmet-to-helmet collision. He just fell really hard against the turf fighting for a ball on the sideline and hit the back of his head.
But yet there they were with a chance at the end of the game to win, and they had the pick. Levis did throw for 262 yards in the game. NBA, the Spurs watched a 27-point lead disappear, but then their prized rookie took over in the fourth quarter.
Outside right now to Wembanyama, 10 to shoot. Wembanyama straight away, 3 over Eubanks. That's so Wembitwa! 36 points for Victor Wembanyama. A 10-0 run for the Spurs. It's 126-116 with 2 minutes remaining in the game.
Bill Schoening getting poetic on Spurs radio. Pete, watch out. I'm going to pull out the Joey Votto sound bites. That's an inside joke from the old show.
Okay.
Yes, he hates Joey Votto.
Okay.
Not a big fan of Joey Votto. No.
Yeah.
By the way,
overhype of Joey
play
Votto.
some random highlights of home runs.
By the way, that clip shows you the problem with the NBA. Victor Wembanyama over Eubanks. What the heck is Eubanks playing for? Drew Eubanks is the Suns' big man going against Wembanyama. Gosh, load management. Ugh.
It's not load management. That's their roster.
Yeah, I think that's just the Suns.
They're a load management roster. I just can't believe I was all high on the Suns, and EJ laughed at me before the season. I mean, come on. It looked like a JV team against Wembanyama last night.
I tried to warn you.
This is what happens when you're playing only 3 guys all the money, and you actually need 5 on the basketball court at any given time.
That formula's not going to
work. That run extended to 12-0, including 10 of 38 points in the game for Victor Wembanyama, and the Spurs beat the Suns 132-121. Wembanyama on his early success.
Of course, the NBA got the greatest athletes on earth, but so far it's working out pretty well.
Yeah, take that, Perloff.
Yeah, Drew Eubanks, 6'9", journeyman. Yeah.
Elsewhere, Sixers over the Raptors, 114-99. Joel Embiid, a big night, 28 points, 13 rebounds, 7 assists. The Pelicans beat the Pistons 125-116. The Magic over the Jazz, 115-113. From baseball, Braves right fielder Ronald Acuna Jr. voted the Player of the Year and the National League's outstanding player by his fellow major leaguers. Angels DH and pitcher Shohei Ohtani voted the American League's outstanding player. Now to the NHL, and the Islanders dished out some capital punishment.
Engvall, Nelson with a path to the net, and he scores! The Islanders get another one in transition. 5th of the year for Brock Nelson.
Brendan Burke on MSG+. Islanders blanked the Capitals 3-0. Also in the NHL last night, the Canucks rout the Sharks 10-1. The Sharks are 0-9-1. And on the other end of the spectrum, the Golden Knights, the Stanley Cup champs, are now 10-0-1 as they beat the Jets 5-2.
Peter, thank you. I was just looking up quickly when you gave the baseball update about when the Rangers parade is, the World Series parade. So it is today. It actually starts at 11 o'clock Central Time.
They didn't waste any time.
Well, I'm thinking you probably need to get this in because Texas has a big game against Kansas State tomorrow, and then you got the Cowboys Eagles on Sunday. You really got to make sure you
honestly,
are slicing and dicing around the football if you want people to show up, right?
Obviously, Friday Night Lights tonight is a big
high
night
school
too.
stuff. Yeah.
Well, you start at 11 a.m.
Yeah,
Central Time.
There's a lot of day games on Friday too. Again, it's an odd fan base. Where do they even? I don't remember Dallas parades. Is there? I've been to Dallas many times.
It's going to be in Arlington.
It's in Arlington. I mean,
I believe so. Yeah, Friday, the championship parade in Arlington. They said thousands of fans will be there.
Ooh, thousands.
That could be 2.
I'm thinking they should say like tens of thousands, no?
They did have that watch party you saw when they wrapped. It was pretty big, so I'm not going to make fun of Rangers fans.
They say
because I am one now.
A celebration for plenty of fans. No, I'm sorry. The plenty of fans have been waiting for.
Are you driving to Arlington too?
No.
He's going to be driving to San Antonio.
This was all specifically about a breakfast joint I like in San Antonio. That's why I was hungry. I'm like, I'd love to go down there. So I'm excited. The food is amazing in San Antonio. Love Tex-Mex. It's all good.
So this is obviously going to be the first ever championship parade in the city of Arlington.
Okay, where were the Cowboys parades?
I'm assuming they must have been in
Irving.
In Irving, remember?
I don't think they were in Irving.
Or downtown Dallas, I guess?
It really wasn't in Irving. I remember going to Cowboy Stadium, and there's really nothing around. There was nothing around it.
Yeah.
What is downtown Dallas means that big black building with the green lights that they show on primetime games. So right around there, I don't know. It's kind of weak. Dallas is very spread out.
Yeah, I kind of like, I guess, doing it near the stadium. I think that does probably make the most sense.
Now they would do it around Frisco, around the Star, the big Cowboys facility. Yeah, this is it's a riveting topic. Where should the Rangers hold their parade?
Several North Texas school districts canceled classes on Friday.
There you go.
Yeah, and this is the whole championship. Perloff doesn't think they have any fans, but they're doing the whole thing.
Imagine if you don't like baseball, you get a free day off.
I think they have fans.
They don't have a Canyon of Heroes in Texas?
How about this? They got banned from high schools, and 6 different high schools are going to come perform. Come on.
Whoa, they got 6 high schools?
6 high school bands.
Is there any celebrity musicians showing up, singing?
Listen, it's hard on short notice.
They can't get Creed?
Creed should be there.
Probably will.
I'd be worried
what
for
could
their
Creed
safety.
be doing?
I mean, do people perform at parades? I don't think that's.
I feel like Meek Mill has been was definitely at that Eagles.
He's like an Eagle, basically. He's actually on the roster.
Also, he's showing up like preseason 76er game. This guy's insane.
And it's just assumed if it's a sporting event, DJ Khaled will be there in some form or other at some point performing.
Another one.
I just don't know if I were Creed. I don't know if I'd want to be performing in an open carry state. 855-212-4CBS, yes.
They don't have the right to choose Creed in anything they do right now.
Listen, they chose Creed.
That's true.
That is an awfully dark turn on the Creed right there. What?
855-212-4CBS. I'm worried about their safety. Peter, thank you so much. Appreciate you. Coming up, we got bad teams that are actually in good situations. We'll tell you what we mean next. Don't move. Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break.
Yeah, I'm going to do. I see I have a read.
45 seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. 15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Fairfield by Marriott is the official hotel partner of the NCAA with over 1,000 locations around the country. You'll always have the home field advantage. Visit fairfield.com to book your stay. Saturday on the college football docket, top-ranked Ohio State heads to New Jersey for a noon tilt with Rutgers. That's weird. Rutgers playing at noon. Didn't see that coming. Far from a controversial matchup, Michigan hopes to sneak in another win against Purdue. Meanwhile, at night, we have LSU go to Alabama for a showdown against Nick Saban's Crimson Tide. Deion Sanders of Colorado wrap up Saturday hosting 16th ranked Oregon State. That's a pretty good. I would give this a solid B+ for the weekend because we got LSU Alabama. I'm excited about it.
I'm just trying to check what the latest spread is on that game. You have a big prediction for that LSU Alabama game.
I guess this is kind of softening, but if LSU wins that, Jayden Daniels winning the Heisman, and I still think regardless, win or lose, unless he completely implodes against a really, really good Alabama defense, Jayden Daniels is a first-round pick. I think the LSU quarterback has been a revelation this season.
He is so good. We have like a fantasy draft of just SEC quarterbacks, and I got the first pick in that draft, and I picked Jayden Daniels, and it's been awesome. So personally, it's working out. I think Alabama winning this game, though, don't you have to put them like right back in to the college football playoff conversation? Because Michigan, Ohio State, someone's going to knock each other out, and both of them aren't getting in. So you would have, like Florida State, I guess, if you want to look at where things are right now, that would be the only team who might be teetering. But Alabama beating LSU, I don't know. I think they might. I'm telling you, people are going to get on Alabama after this if they win this game.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, if they play, and I think the way they still play Georgia
in the SEC championship game, right?
They'd probably be a big underdog. I mean, the way Alabama's been playing, I think, and the way Georgia's been playing, I think it might be 8 or 9 points.
I don't think we've seen Alabama's best game, though. Definitely not.
Well, what best game? I just don't understand how the way they've been playing their offense and how they've been hanging around with everybody against the way Georgia looks, it just feels like a mismatch to me. But if they could beat Georgia in the SEC title game, of course. But they have to win that game now, right? They're not getting. No, they're definitely not getting in with 2 losses.
Yeah, and Saban knows that. Do we have the Saban sound from? No, not yet. We'll play that sound for you in a little bit. Saban on Pat McAfee, where he just is like smiles, like it's. I'm telling you, I'm sticking with my prediction. I think this is going to be the last year for 2 big coaches. One, Nick Saban. I think this is his last year at Alabama, and then he goes to College Game Day to replace Lee Corso and is going to go into the broadcasting side of his career as we finish this out here. And then Steve Kerr. I think these are the 2 big guys.
Oh, I thought you were saying Belichick. Okay.
No, Belichick. No. Belichick still has to prove something. He still has to make the playoffs at least without Tom Brady. No, he did make the playoffs once without Tom Brady. Mac Jones's rookie year. He's got to do something significant without Brady.
Yeah, that's interesting about Steve Kerr, but how many years is he going to retire before Steph Curry?
Well, I'm not sure if Steve Kerr might not eventually coach a different team down the line, but I just think he's going to step away from the Warriors. Got Last Dance vibes all over it, and he steps away, goes back to broadcasting for a little, maybe gets rejuvenated and comes back to coach the Spurs one day.
Okay, I like the theory. I'm not sure why he has to do all that. Why not just stay with the Warriors?
Well, he could, but I think that isn't he, didn't Phil Jackson always say you get 8 years? 8 or 10. That was always what he said.
Phil Jackson says a lot of things.
It's true. He does say a lot of things. And then he thinks your message gets stale. So
Well, I mean, this team is so unusual, though, because they have these veterans who you don't really even need to coach them anymore. You have Curry, Clay, and Draymond who are this is all running like a machine here. I actually was surprised. I heard the other day that Klay Thompson's almost certain to re-sign with Golden State moving forward. So I think they try and squeeze a little bit more out of this. It'd be a great last dance. Are they good enough? The last dance Bulls were the prohibitive favorite to win it all. They were the best team in the league. Don't you have to be a championship team to be a last dance team?
No, I don't know about the Klay re-signing. I guess, does that sort of change things a little? It just feels like this is, maybe you're also looking at Curry, who's 35, and I know, is he 35, 36? I know that
35.
He can play forever, I'm sure, but doesn't it feel like this is the outer edge of the prime years?
I did until I saw that game the other night, which he was getting a lot of praise for it. He looks exactly like he did when he was 25. It's got a Tom Brady vibe. He can't dunk the ball anyway. What difference does he make if he slows down a little bit? Or he's not fast to start with.
Draymond Green had some fun comments yesterday. He said the chemistry with the Warriors this year, so much better.
Last year was horse. It's hard to come to work. Y'all see me trying to do Clay's little paper airplane. It was hard. It was hard to come to work. Not fun, and so this year you see the joy, on guys' face when they come in the building. You got guys like staying over 2 and 3 hours after, just sitting around talking, getting here 2 and 3 hours early just to be here. It's like you start to see that and you're like, okay, this is a group that likes being together.
Now, what happened last year that may have thrown the vibes off in the team?
Couldn't think of it.
Really couldn't think of anything. No, nothing. Not punching one of your teammates in training camp. That didn't throw the vibes off.
Oh, yeah, that right there.
You're wondering why guys don't want to show up. They probably don't want to get cold cocked. That's why. Yeah, I imagine it was probably a little tense between Draymond and Jordan Poole last year. But listen, Draymond wins because Jordan Poole got traded away and Draymond got a new contract.
All right, how into this team are you guys? We talking
Warriors?
real?
Big time.
Yeah, tell me who is covering the big guys on Denver.
I don't have an answer for you for that for basically 98% of the league.
Well, at least the Lakers have tall players. The Warriors have thrown Dario Saric out there the other night. I don't
have tall players that got swept by them last year.
I know, and that's what I'm saying.
Where's the size? I mean, they have Anthony Davis and then
Rui,
who's 6'9".
Well, yeah, but honestly, at least they have
Rui
Anthony Davis.
on Jokic was the revelation, right?
It's like the Heat last year. The Warriors look like the Heat last year. They are a bunch of 6'7" guys. I don't understand how they're going to do this.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to try to outshoot you,
Yeah.
you, which, I mean, they've done it before. They've been small before. It's just,
That was the death lineup when they were small.
Yeah, it's just this year, they're at their oldest. So how's that play out? It's going to be interesting.
Coming up, what's at stake for Dak Prescott in this big showdown against Philadelphia? We've got that for you and so much more. Don't move. Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
She was the Heisman Trophy winner in 1986. He left her off the ballot. They are Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
Pittsburgh Steelers win another ugly one, at least on the offensive side, and they're like celebrating that the team got to 20 points on offense and scored 2 touchdowns. Hey, welcome to the show. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff, the much questioned and scrutinized Pittsburgh Steelers offense. They get 2 touchdowns last night, 2 offensive touchdowns, basically the first drive of the game and their last drive of the game, second to last drive of the game, where they got touchdowns, and they do just enough to squeak by a Tennessee Titans team that has certainly found something with Will Levis. He followed up that 4-touchdown performance with another solid game. Like, you can see the arm. Now, he did throw an interception at the end to seal it for the Steelers, but you can see the talent. The bigger question now is actually not Levis after 2 weeks. It's Kenny Pickett after 20 starts. Perloff thinks that he's a guy who is holding back the offense, where I think he's a guy who was playing with broken ribs, gutted it out on a short week, and someone who, when you need a touchdown drive in the fourth quarter, he consistently delivers.
Well, I think the reason we have a different view on him is my expectations of the Steelers is they should be a Super Bowl contender. And I just can't see that as not quarterback play for a Super Bowl contender. It's quarterback play possibly for a wild card if everything falls right. He's got to step it up. And maybe it was the health. There was a couple plays in the first half where there was a wide open receiver. If Matt Canada can scheme open a wide open receiver, you better hit that guy. And even the fourth quarter,
singing Eclipse.
The fourth quarter plays, I mean, he dropped the ball in the bucket, but those were, oh my gosh, they were 3 inches away from disaster. You can't rely on Kenny Pickett to pull a rabbit out of his hat in the fourth quarter every game. I think the key to the Steelers winning, obviously, is TJ Watt. Just unleash him. And you're either going to hold him or he's going to destroy your quarterback and get a turnover. That will work. Just you need more steady, competent offense. And again, Matt Canada had a better game. I still worry about the lack of creativity on the Steelers offense. Watch the Sean McVay and the Rams, or watch Kyle Shanahan and everything that's going on there. None of that's going on in Pittsburgh. There is very little fancy stuff. And eventually, I think if you have a playoff game, I think a Chiefs defense, a Jaguars defense, even a Bills defense, I think they can completely figure out the Steelers offense.
Yeah, but, I think this is by design. I don't think it's because Pickett is bad. Yes, he sails some passes, but sure, he's playing hurt and on a short week. I mean, I think this is how the Steelers want to win these games. They're not going in saying, and they have, I thought, good receivers. George Pickens was nowhere last night. He finished with like a negative yardage. That's wild for a wide receiver. But Deontay Johnson had a big game, and he finally gets his first touchdown, and the run game was working. And I think they were averaging 5.5 yards a carry last night between Jaylen Warren and Najee Harris, and they were just rolling with that. I mean, this game probably could have been a little bit more out of reach, but first of all, Steelers basically only play tight games. And the Titans got 6 first downs from penalties. The Steelers were flagged 10 times last night in what was a flag fest. It kept so many drives alive for the Titans.
Absolutely, but they could have been flagged for 10 more because Joey Porter Jr. was basically, it was like a middle school slow dance every time DeAndre Hopkins ran a route. Now, Hopkins was getting handsy too, but the Steelers have a little Seahawks Legion of Boom thing. Basically, we're going to grab the guy every time he comes out, and the officials are just going to get tired of throwing the flag. So, and Joey Porter Jr., I love this guy. He's going to be great. He's clearly, you're relying a lot asking a rookie to shut down the number one wide receiver. But again, back to the offense, you can't tell me it's by design to be a bottom 6 offense. And it's by design to keep the game conservative and close. But don't you think they're going a little too far by design to be slow?
I do. I understand. I think that's why everyone in Pittsburgh wants Matt Canada fired. They want a change here. And, on the broadcast last night, they tried to paint it like this is actually Mike Tomlin's philosophy that, it's not Matt Canada just being bad at his job. Yeah. This is how they want to win. But you're right. I mean, Kenny Pickett right now is down to like 61% completion percentage. And that's bad. Now, he was 63% last year. So it's not like, they've all of a sudden had this Ferrari of a quarterback and they've completely neutered him. It's not like that at all. But I think right now what Steeler fans will take is him being able to put together these fourth quarter touchdowns. And you're saying it can't last. I think it can. I mean,
I think you're playing the result. If they lose that game last night, it is a call for Kenny Pickett. It is a disaster.
Well, who are they going to go to? Trubisky?
Trubisky was so bad too.
There's no threat here.
I think he has an excuse. His ribs were hurt last night. Say they drop that game, I mean, they beat a very bad team at home, and we're acting like everything is fixed here. What happens when they play the Browns and when they play the Bengals and the Ravens? That game they played last night's not going to cut it.
855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Okay, so our poll question, is Kenny Pickett the problem with the offense? EJ, what are the results so far?
So we asked the people, of course, is Kenny Pickett the problem? We're seeing a very interesting poll, and I've been following this all morning. It's been up and down here. Right now, we're at 52.9% say no. We're at 47.1% say yes.
Yeah, it's really split here. I'd love to hear from some Steeler fans. I'm sure you're happy you got the win, but to Perloff's point, can you win a Super Bowl with Kenny Pickett or with the offense playing this way? Now, I think that we have some inflated expectations for the Pittsburgh Steelers because they were so good in the preseason and because their defense is so good that now all of a sudden they're a Super Bowl team, which In the offseason, I didn't hear a lot of Steelers Super Bowl. I was hearing a lot about, hey, this AFC is super loaded. Who knows who's going to come out of it?
Right, but if not now, then when? They have Kenny Pickett on a rookie deal. He's not a young man. He's 25. They have T.J. Watt at the height of his powers. It just feels like there's something special all over this roster, but the offense is not doing it. The funny thing, they drafted this kid that they stole from the Patriots, or no, Broderick Jones.
Yeah, the Jets.
The Jets. They stole from the Jets.
The Patriots traded with the Steelers to block the Jets from getting Broderick Jones, the offensive tackle.
And I think he finally really started to get heavy into the rotation last night, but he feels their offensive line is definitely questionable because you see it. Kenny Pickett doesn't really look comfortable back there, and it was a little better last night. They ran the ball. I think the Titans let them run the ball last night. They were just saying, we're going to make sure Pickens doesn't get a big play on us. Their theory was let the Steelers try and sort of matriculate down the field, which they're not great at. I see a very flawed offense. And I don't think that's a hot take by any means.
Everyone knows that, but I don't think it's on Pickett.
Well,
that's where you and I differ. You think it's on Pickett. I think it's on the play calling, the philosophy.
He throws a lot of uncatchable balls, and usually he throws a pass. I'm like, oh man, that must have been the rib, or that must have been the small hands, or that must have been something. Because a good quarterback would have completed a lot of passes last night. They have great receivers. Last night they had a good running game. There's no reason that a guy's not throwing for 300 yards.
I thought that the small hands thing was that a guy would have a penchant to fumble the ball a lot. Not that he can't complete passes.
Well, yeah, but I mean, if you have
he doesn't fumble the ball.
I think if you have to shot put the ball, you're going to be less accurate. Big hands is not just about ball security; it's about
ball
throwing
control.
the ball. Yeah, ball control. It does look funny when Kenny Pickett throws it. You have to admit he's got an unorthodox style a little bit. When he throws the ball downfield, he had a guy. He was pressured. There was a guy 50 yards downfield where he just did not have the arm strength to get it to him because he was off his back foot. Will Levis would have completed that pass easily. Will Levis, that is what a big, talented quarterback looks like. I'm not saying that he is as polished as he's going to be.
Yeah.
But he looks like that's what I want a quarterback. I want a gigantic guy who can just rocket the ball anywhere.
I know, but Will Levis might have like a top 3 arm in the league in terms of just arm strength. It's like him, Allen, Justin Herbert.
Well, I don't know. Did we know that before? Will Levis, top 3 arm strength?
No, I'm just saying you watch it last night off a back foot with a guy in his face and he can throw a 50-yard bomb.
Yeah.
But listen, Kyle Bowler had a great arm. Like sometimes having this awesome, amazing, I can throw 80 yards from my knees arm doesn't mean you're going to be successful. But I like what I've seen from Levis. I'm not here to poo-poo him. But.
Yeah, I guess I'm maybe used to Big Ben. Just a gigantic guy who's going to stand back there with pass rushers hanging off him and somehow have the arm strength to once or twice a game throw the ball 40 yards downfield for a huge completion. Pickett, it's just been very sporadic. Yeah, the last 3 minutes, he's Tom Brady. I don't understand it.
It's amazing.
I just want to see more. Maybe he'll get healthy and he'll fix some of that. You're right. Preseason, he was a Ferrari. He was unbelievable. The preseason, it was all working perfectly. Okay, am I an idiot for buying into that? Yes.
Definitely, because the defenses aren't game planning for specific quarterbacks in the preseason.
But at least he could throw the ball 50 yards downfield on a spiral. Where is that now?
Well, the weather's going to get worse. The conditions are going to be bad. It's the AFC North. I mean, being able to throw 50-yard bombs, I think, becomes less important when you get into December. You got to be able to run the ball. You got to still be able to make plays and keep the defense honest. But, these 50-yard, plays, it's not the same.
Yeah, but Burrow and Lamar Jackson, they're going to be able to do it. You need some chunk plays, and it's been really hard for the Steelers, again, until the end of the game.
Yep.
Then something crazy happens.
855-212-4CBS if you want to talk about the Steelers. Let's get to a Cowboys quickie today. Big game in Philadelphia this weekend. Dak Prescott explaining why he loves playing in Philly.
It's just a good atmosphere for football, honestly. I guess you can say having grown up in the SEC, a lot of different venues and stadiums that just you can feel it. The time you get near the stadium, eat, sleep, breathe the game of football, the fans' excitement, the atmosphere, the close games, the energy. When you walk into the Philadelphia Stadium, it's no different. It feels like some of those old Saturday nights. Fans are going to get loud. You got to make sure your communication is top notch, and then and then it's fun always getting a win up there.
There you go. That is Dak Prescott. There's your Cowboys quickie.
Okay. So last time Dak was in Philly, it was 2021. They won 51-26. He was 21 for 27, 5 touchdowns, 0 picks. I think the Eagles were resting their players because it was week 18, and they were already clinched a wild card. He has really played very well at Philly and against Philly, but he hasn't seen this team. Because last year, remember, he got hurt earlier in the year, went to Philly, Cooper Rush lost. Then he beat Gardner Minshew later in the season. I don't think he's faced this new, more ferocious Eagles team. So I'm curious how this is going to work out. If we're going to see good Dak, which we've seen the last 2 weeks, or bad Dak, which we saw against San Francisco.
I think this is a pretty important game for him. Now, Perloff is under the impression that no games matter for Dak until we get the divisional round. I'm less of that, and not that we have to ride the roller coaster week to week here with Prescott, but I do think that getting home field advantage for the Dallas Cowboys and winning the division is important. That should be a goal. And I know it didn't work out the last time that they had a home game against the San Francisco 49ers. You got to put that in the rear view mirror. The real thing here is getting home field. That always helps the team. It will help the Cowboys. It has to be a goal.
Has it ever helped? It didn't help the Packers under Aaron Rodgers the last few years. And that's Lambeau.
I'm talking about, I'd much rather be still gunning for the number 1 seed if I can and be gunning for home field advantage. I just don't think you can mess around. And, I think Dak, this is going to be an interesting one for him because let's see, against a very good defense in San Francisco, it looked awful. Let's see against a very good defense in Philadelphia how it looks.
I think that's short-sighted in the sense that they're going to play him again in 3 weeks. I mean, this is a long season. It's a division game. You can't have every division game like this be a must-win game because then it's the second one a must-win game too. And what about when they play in the playoffs for the third time?
Well, but that's the thing. You're in one of those divisions where you have a foil, which is the Eagles. The Giants stink, the Commanders stink, but you do have a foil in Philadelphia, and this is the game.
But we know as football fans, divisional games amongst close rivals tend to split. I would urge you not to read too much into this result one way or the other.
Well, you're already trailing them by 2 games, though, because the Cowboys are 5-2 and the Eagles are 7-1. So you definitely have to make up ground.
Eagles have the toughest schedule in the league coming up. Cowboys are going to be 12-5. The question is, I'm telling you, they love having the same record year after year after year. That's a Cowboys thing.
Yep.
They're going 12-5. The question is, are the Eagles going to be able to beat that?
855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Let's hear more of Dak Prescott, please, Pete, on the importance of this game.
It's got enough meaning in the sense of who they are, them being division, having the success that they've had over the past couple of years, being a great team, being great on offense and defense, and, which makes them obviously a Super Bowl contender. But, this rival has enough, even when teams, I guess, these two teams aren't playing this well, this game is still always one people look forward to. I damn sure do.
There you go. I mean, I think he's right. And you're facing a team that went to the Super Bowl last year and is a Super Bowl contender. I mean, I'd rather face any of these teams in the playoffs at home, whether it's got to be San Francisco, whether it has to be Seattle, whether it has to be Detroit, whether it's the Eagles again. I mean, if I'm Dallas, I'm really taking this one seriously. Close the gap here.
Of course you're taking it seriously.
No, but you're saying it won't matter.
They do play again, so the same thing applies to the next game too. Right? So you're saying they have to sweep the Eagles?
I think that this would go a long way for them. I don't know how realistic it is, but this is why this is a massive game for Dak Prescott.
I tend to think that we judge the Cowboys way too in the moment. Every Dak Prescott game is a consensus on where Dak Prescott is.
Well, it depends when is he throwing interceptions? Is he not throwing interceptions?
I just think that we more so with him than any other quarterback. He's awesome because he beats Tampa Bay in the wild card round as one of the best playoff games we've seen in a long time. Then he's terrible because they lost to the Niners. It can't be every game is who Dak Prescott is. I just think we have a tendency to overreact to every single Cowboys game, something about the Cowboys. And I do think it's an overreaction. I do think they can lose this game and still be in good position. I think they lost that Niners game, and you said it yourself. That is not a consensus of where they are.
Well, I thought also the Niners played as good as they possibly could play at that time. Now, we thought this was just, the Niners are here, and this is the level they're going to stay at. And it turns out not. The Niners have gone through 3 straight losses, and it's been tougher for them. So it actually opened the door back up for the Cowboys to get the number 1 seed. We'll see about Detroit. Detroit is a little bit of an inside track, too.
The thing is, that game was at San Francisco. This game is at Philly. Don't you say a loss at Philly is excusable? Like, especially if Dak plays okay. If they show up and lose by a touchdown, I'm not panicking if I'm Dallas at all. I would say, we're going to get him at home big time in the next game. And it's a long season. The Cowboys are still figuring some things out. I think they're getting a little better on offense. They're kind of getting guys besides CeeDee Lamb to do something. So this to me is, I'm sorry, there's only one must-win game, and that's the Super Bowl.
Well, no kidding.
That's the old Dave Damashek joke.
Thank you.
Dave Damashek, our
You're
friend.
You're not going to get that kind of analysis anywhere else but right here.
We have a buddy at Media Day at Super Bowl, goes up to players and says, do you think this is a must-win game?
He's a comedy writer. You can see why. It usually gets a kick out of everybody. But we want to hear from you, Cowboy fans. 855-212-4CBS. Cowboy fans have been a little quiet this season. I think everyone's a little tepid. Like, Dak Prescott never got the contract extension this offseason. McCarthy still hasn't won the organization over. You had the bad loss to the 49ers. I think took a lot of the wind out of the sails. Cowboy fans have been surprisingly quiet this
Here's
year.
where we are with the Cowboys. They can't do anything in the regular season to impress anybody. Yeah. If they win on Sunday, everyone is going to say the same thing. All right, let's see it in the playoffs, because they've had these good records and disappointed in the postseason. They're I think the same thing with Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens. There's a couple teams now where it's like, okay, we've seen the regular season wins. Let's see it in the playoffs.
855-212-4CBS. Maggie and Perloff right here on CBS Sports Radio. Coming up at the top of the hour, celebrity NFL picker is in studio today. Also, spoiler alert, it's a woman. Very attractive. YouTube.com/CBS Sports Radio. Twitch.tv/CBS Sports Radio. And she's hilarious. I should have led with that. She's hilarious and beautiful and smart and a dynamo. You're not going to want to miss this.
Now you're overselling.
I'm not. I'm underselling. 855-212-4CBS. Maggie and Perloff. Don't go anywhere. Coming up, we do have the GOAT giving advice. What did he have to say? You're going to hear it next. Don't move. Maggie and Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. "45 seconds remaining. "30 seconds remaining. "15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Stream the NFL on Westwood One for free, sponsored by AutoZone. All season long, you can listen to every Westwood One broadcast of the NFL live on the NFL app by asking Alexa to open Westwood One Sports, or on the Odyssey app. Get in the zone, AutoZone. AutoZone's free battery testing and charging is available for free at your local AutoZone. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Restrictions apply. I could have used that last night. I was juggling a lot of games last night. Thursdays in the fall, I mean, that is for professional sports TV watchers.
When you're an amateur? No, you should be a pro by now.
Well, the NBA is a little bit tricky for me, too, because I got to watch the NBA while I'm watching basketball, and then there's college football got interesting. I ended up sort of missing a bunch of important things, including the Sixers winning without James Harden, proving we did not need that dude.
Yes, that's the evidence. Last night, you won one regular season game.
Beat the Raptors at home.
No, James Harden is really turning into something special. Like, this whole season is this is the most interesting the Clippers have been in a really long time.
Wait, the Clippers who used to have Chris Paul, Blake Griffin? That was pretty interesting.
Oh, yeah, Lob City. Forgot about that. Anyway.
Yeah.
They blew a 3-1. Anyway. Okay, Harden, this quote's going to live forever. No matter what Harden does from here on out, no matter how many strip clubs he eventually opens, it'll be a chain. I'm sure it'll be super successful. This is going to be what he will be remembered for. Harden explaining what he meant by being on a leash with the 76ers and says he is a system.
When I meant a leash, I'm not meant just shooting the basketball every time. I meant like I think the game and I'm a creator on the court. You know what I mean? So if I got a voice to where I can, hey coach, I see this, you know, what you think about this? Then it's like, oh, okay. Like somebody that trusts me, that believes in me, that understands me, that I'm just not I'm not a system player. I am a system.
Amazing. I'm not a system player, I'm a system.
Yeah. That's true. He's a crappy system that loses in the playoffs.
It's like, listening, it's like he created, I don't know, it sounds like a rap lyric, quite frankly, like a poem or something.
It's completely
I'm not a
accurate.
business, man. I'm a business.
Yeah,
man.
right. It reminded me of the Jay-Z lyric.
Yeah.
It's totally true. He will not play in a system because he needs the ball in his hand. So a system means everybody's working together to achieve one goal. And James Harden has no interest in that whatsoever. He has one goal, and that is to celebrate James Harden, to make me an all-star, to make me have all these points. And that is why I am so thrilled he is as far away from my Philadelphia 76ers as possible.
Here's the thing. I mean, he did help Joel Embiid win an MVP.
Oh,
I
yeah,
think.
who cares? This is about titles. I don't care about that crappy MVP.
I'm just saying he has shown in little tiny drips and drabs that he can be this sort of, I think he's shown that he can be a cog in the system. It's just very small sample size. And the idea that this will happen when he's playing with Kawhi and with Paul George is laughable, right? But I'm going to tell you what's going to happen exactly. He's going to be on his best behavior for like 2 months. He's going to be distributing the ball. He's going to be averaging like 10 assists a game. And everyone's going to be like, oh, you know, James Harden, I think maybe we had this all wrong. And then he will revert back to being the person.
You know, even when he has a lot of assists, they're still bad. Because if you're playing defense, that means he's holding the ball for 14 seconds and throws one pass. You know where the ball is at all times. Watch the Warriors play and then say, what's the exact opposite of this beautiful brand of basketball? Then watch the Clippers with Russell Westbrook and James Harden. It's going to be terrible.
I think it's important to note, and this was from Kevin O'Connor from The Ringer. He said James Harden ranks second in the NBA in time possessing the ball per game, behind only Luka last season.
Another player who has the same exact problems as James Harden. Those guys are mirror images of each other. I hate basketball players who hold the ball. I don't want to play with them. I don't want to watch them on the court. Steph Curry is the greatest offensive player of our generation, except for maybe LeBron. He's always moving. He's always throwing the ball and cutting away. That's how you play the game, Maggie, not James Harden.
Listen, I get it. I just think it's hilarious that James Harden is still hanging on to this now. It's like, didn't you at any point when the entire league, except for the Clippers, basically was like, no thanks. Like that didn't do anything to be like, maybe I should adjust my style. Anyway, Peter Schwartz is here. He's got some headlines. Good morning, Peter.
Good morning, Maggie. Good morning, Perloff. Let's begin in Pittsburgh, where the Steelers beat the Titans 20-16. Kenny Pickett with a 3-yard touchdown pass to Deontay Johnson with 4:02 to go in the game. Pickett was happy that Johnson could finally get in the end zone.
It was great. It was awesome. Obviously, it was a big deal to get him in the end zone. It's been too long for sure. So, see that smile on his face after that was great, and I'm sure it felt like the world was off his back now, so he can go relax and play and continue to be the guy that he is for us. He had an unbelievable game.
Pickett, battling a rib injury, was 19 of 30 for 190 yards. Quan Alexander sealing the win, picking off Will Levis at the goal line with 6 seconds to go. But TJ Watt said the Steelers still have to get better on defense.
Obviously not satisfied with where we are, but we just need to continue to improve and eliminate problems as quickly as possible and just get as healthy as possible. That's what is so crucial about this extra little rest that we have.
Some more nitpicking. Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin said the win was nice, but enough with the penalties.
Man, really excited about the win. Obviously, it could have been cleaner. First and foremost, from a penalty perspective, part of being a tough team to beat first is not kicking your own butt, man, and we kind of been doing that some, and we got to own that.
The Steelers do own the fact that they're the only team since 1970 to be outgained in their first 8 games and still have a winning record, as they are now 5-3.
It doesn't sound like
It doesn't
great
make
formula.
sense.
It's like the teams that have like a negative point differential, but somehow have like a above 500 record. It's like, I don't get it, but sure.
Like that to me is like more shocking if you said than if you said like a team, was -5 in the turnover battle, because that could happen in a game,
Right.
Yeah.
like something strange. But to be outgained in every game and still have a winning record just to me doesn't make any sense.
Come on, Peter. You got to win the turnover battle. That's the only
and
football cliche.
Establish the run, win the turnover battle.
It makes no sense to me, and I root for a team that doesn't make sense. So it's just,
Yes, we have many suffering Jets fans, as if there's any
Oh.
other kind. Although I like Peter wearing his son's football jersey
Yeah,
today.
that's
That's
cool.
pretty cool.
Big playoff game tonight for MacArthur against Manhasset.
Well, Friday Night
we
Lights.
didn't know that.
Long
Friday
Island.
Night Lights, yeah. And playoff game against Manhasset. So my son is a senior. So we're hoping this is not it tonight. We'd like to have at least another week.
Perloff's got $10,000 on this game.
Can you bet on high school football legally? No, you can't.
Maybe in Texas.
Yeah.
They're definitely doing it in Texas and Florida.
I'll find you a guy.
So,
Peter, you got some inside info for me? What's going on
Well,
here?
we have direct access to the long snapper. So
You know what? Bradley comes home from school every day after practice.
Yeah.
And he says, "Do you want to know what's going on?" "No, I want to be surprised." Here's what happened. Don't tell me. I don't want to know. I'd like to sit there with Mom in the stands.
Oh, but the game plan.
Yeah, because there was one time he told me something was going to happen in the game.
Philly special? Like, what are they running?
Yeah, flea flicker?
Well, I mean, I can't really get into that, but there was something that happened in a game once that he told me was going to happen, and it really annoyed me that I knew that it was coming, and I'd like to be surprised.
Wait, why can't you
were
reveal
mad there
that
was
right
a
now?
spoiler in a high school football game your son was playing in?
Yeah, a play that he was involved in, and I really wish I had not known about it. It worked out well, like
Yeah.
it was executed.
Wait, what was the play? You can't say?
It was a fake punt,
Oh, there you go. And it worked.
and it worked.
So this already happened, and you're still nervous talking about it. Did you think it's because somebody's listening who's going to know that there's possibly a
Perloff,
trick
there's
play
got to
coming?
be a Connor Stallions of Long Island that
I'm
is just
big
waiting.
all over Long Island, so like I can't really comment too much.
But
on
it already happened, this fake punt. You should be nervous talking about what already happened.
Yeah, but they might run it again.
Yeah, well, you don't know what's going to happen.
Jim Harbaugh in Michigan, they're looking at the video from last week. They're not telling the future about what's happening in the county style and stuff.
Listen, it's out there on tape now, but still, I get where Peter's coming from. This stuff is, I bet in Texas and California, Florida, Long Island, apparently, people are incredibly paranoid.
Yeah, you look really nervous right now that there's some trick play. You just said you don't know what's going to
I
happen.
don't know because I don't want to know anymore because it bothered me the last time that I knew about it.
You are the only person on earth, also, I think, who their teenage kid wants to talk to them, and you're like, no.
No. No, and it's like, and my younger son plays Little League Baseball, and I said, and he'll come, we're at the game, and he wants me to come over, and I'm like, what's the matter? I want to talk to you about, no, I'm not your coach now.
That's
I'm
good.
not your coach. Like, if there's something that happened in the game, we'll talk about it after the game. Like during the game, go talk to your coach.
Yeah.
I'm not your coach.
That's healthy.
I'm not that
I think
parent.
that's healthy.
I'm not that parent because there's been situations at football games where parents have gotten the attention
of the coach
of their kid
the kid
on the field and said, you got to play over there. Don't go over there. What the coach told. No, you go play over there.
Yeah.
Like that's not me. Like just we'll talk about it after the game.
No, you have to do what every parent does or should do, which is say nothing during the game, and then you got to have like a very awkward conversation with the coach afterward.
Yeah.
This is what parenting
I don't
is.
want it. I don't want to know about it. As for the Titans last night, we mentioned Will Levis gets picked off by Quan Alexander at the goal line with 6 seconds to go, and that just wasn't good for Levis.
Got to finish drives. The yards don't mean anything if you don't finish those drives, for sure. I mean, we're not going to force anything, we're just going to do our jobs and play the field position battle if we need to. But obviously, you want to score points, and couldn't get it done as much as we needed to tonight.
And the Titans dropped to 3-5. NBA, the Spurs over the Suns, 132-121. Victor Wembanyama with a huge game, 38 points, including 10 points during a 12-0 Spurs fourth quarter run after they had left a 27-point lead slip away. So what is the biggest thing that Wembanyama has learned so far about the NBA?
The biggest thing I've learned, I'd say, is maybe a 20-point lead is nothing.
He's right about that.
Last night it disappeared
Accurate.
very quickly. Very smart guy so far. And the Spurs recover. They win the game. They're now 3-2. Now to Philadelphia, where the Sixers beat the Raptors 114-99 in their first game since trading away James Harden. Joel Embiid was asked about the idea that Harden was held back in Philadelphia.
But in my opinion, I just feel like, we allowed him to just be himself, and we gave him the ball every single possession.
It is a lot. I think it's revisionist history for Harden to go back and be like, I was totally playing with one hand behind my back. It's like, you had the ball all the time.
When did Embiid said that last night?
Yeah.
After the game or before the game? I'm just curious.
Sounded like it was after the game.
Yeah, so that's funny that they're asking him about that after a Raptors game, and he's getting into it. I would think if Joel Embiid, would that be like a no-comment situation? He's pretty honest there.
No, I think he's probably sick of holding his tongue.
That's refreshing, actually.
He was so diplomatic during this whole thing, wouldn't comment on it when Harden was not showing up, like generally being a pain and a distraction.
You remember Embiid made one comment about Ben Simmons that sort of set this train going to get Ben Simmons out of town.
Yeah, and I actually thought that was unfair. It was the game 6 after the Atlanta series when they lost. And
how is that unfair?
His quote was actually much longer, and he took more blame for that, but he did mention, hey, you're under the basket, you got to shoot. And that's the 2 seconds that everyone went with. But that's like the world we live in now.
That was everybody watching the game saw it too.
Of course, yes.
One thing about Embiid, I'm in New York. We're in New York. The paper saying that Embiid's coming to the Knicks. I don't care. But I think the Sixers,
You're with the rest of America there.
This whole idea that Embiid wants out of Philadelphia, he's going to go to the Knicks, like that's going to work out better for him.
But this was what I thought was good from Embiid too, which is it's so early in the season. Like at some point, the trade was just made. You're the centerpiece of this team. You got a new coach. Like you've got to show that you've got this team's back a little bit. He may hate Morey too, Daryl Morey, the GM. Who knows how this is going to end? But for now, I think he's got to look like he is in line and lockstep with the organization.
I think he needs to just be a little more broken down to get to the Knicks and overpaid and get the expectations up. And then he'll fit in with the Knicks.
I think my nephew would be very upset if Joel Embiid came to the Knicks. He's a huge Sixers fan. He lives in Philadelphia.
Yeah, no, the Sixers.
He loves them.
By the way, the Sixers.
Daryl's probably talking to him daily.
They don't even want to win. They just want to keep Joel Embiid. Every move you hear about, we have to get this guy to keep Embiid happy. Are they going to get Zach LaVine at the trade deadline to keep Embiid happy? What about winning a title?
But that's not just the 76ers. This is the NBA now, where if you have a star player, they essentially, and I'm not saying this in a bad way all the time, but they hold your organization hostage.
Yeah.
And in some ways, it works out well. Like, Giannis basically told the organization, if you don't sign somebody else, I'm going to leave. And it motivated them to, years ago, get Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton. And more recently, get Dame Lillard. Like sometimes it can work for you, and other times you're at the whim of the superstar.
Yeah, although you also bring on a lot of risk because Damian Lillard's 34. You're already seeing everyone saying they can't play defense anymore. It doesn't always work. Even with Giannis, we don't know that this is going to work. You could make an organization make short-term moves instead of long-term moves, and it could cost them.
They need to play defense for 2 months. They don't need to play defense for 6 months.
I'm not convinced.
Don't you hate when the inmates run the asylum? I just don't.
The players?
Like the players. Like, do you think I can't wrap my head around like they're not the general managers. They shouldn't be dictating who the teams get.
Yeah, but I think
unless it's like if a team owner is like flat out cheap and doesn't want to bring anybody in, and a player can speak out saying, "Hey, we should be going after these guys," but you just can't like. To me, I can't fathom the idea of saying, well, this person should come here and that person should go there, and we need to make all these super teams.
Listen, I think it was so far the opposite way for so long where the players didn't have any power, and they're the league, and they realize their power. Now, maybe you want to say it's gone a little too far where guys are not just saying trade me, but trade me specifically to the Miami Heat or trade me specifically to the Lakers. Maybe that's gotten a little out of hand, but I mean, I get it. If I'm a star player, I'm using all my power.
I think the one problem is sometimes players have a different time frame than teams. Teams got to build a contender year after year where the players like Giannis is like, I need to do this now. Mm-hmm. But that being said, you look at the Warriors when all the players convinced Kevin Durant to come there. It can work out great too.
Yeah, the players can be the thing.
I don't think that the players or Daryl Morey has made nothing but bad decisions too. I think the players are probably have just as good ideas, but I just think they have different incentives. They need to win right now. Where you're a team, you're like, okay, listen, if I give up all these draft picks, where am I in 5 years? The players don't care. So I don't know. I wouldn't really say that. I think the Bucks they had to. Maggie had a great point. Like, there's no choice. If Giannis says, I need this guy, are you going to say no to Giannis?
No, I don't want to say no. I'm just saying, just in general, I just don't like the fact that the players get to dictate where they want to go and who comes to play with them. Like you have a general manager for that. And if the general manager stinks at his job, you go to a new general manager.
Yeah, I know, but it's like LeBron said, you don't want to be 30 years old with bad knees and no rings.
He's also got a championship, though.
No, but this is what he said why he left Miami. Yeah, EJ.
No, I was going to say, to be fair, though, in more recent examples, we've seen guys kind of not get their way. Talking about Dame Lillard wanted to go to Miami, and he dictated he wanted to go to Miami, and he didn't get what he wanted. Kyrie Irving wanted to go to the Lakers, and he didn't get what he wanted. Yeah. And Donovan Mitchell didn't say he wanted to go to the Knicks, but it was very obvious he wanted to go to the Knicks, and they sent him to Cleveland. So we're seeing a lot more examples now where teams are just saying, I'm going for the best deal for myself, or maybe I'm being selfish and I don't want to spite the player, whatever it is. I think we're seeing a balance happen where this is not years ago where anybody can just go wherever they want. I think Harden was a weird situation because very few people wanted him, and it almost felt like the Clippers were almost bullied into finally trading for him.
Well, Durant, though, I would say, is the other one.
But then that was one where, they initially were not going to trade him.
Wait, which team are you talking about?
That summer and say, hey, I want to go to Phoenix or Miami, and they said, get lost. And he had to play half a season. It wasn't until Kyrie Irving blew up the entire situation. We said, all right, you know what? We'll just trade you because this thing is over anyway.
Yeah, but it's also weird because Kevin Durant asked for a trade and they basically said no. That was very, very odd. That was like, and then he did, though, get where he wanted to go. Like 4 months later, but he did get there.
Yeah, but if Kyrie never blows that situation up, he may still be in Brooklyn.
Yeah. So if Kyrie doesn't blow it up, maybe they make the playoffs.
One thing is different with the Lakers and LeBron. I mean, you're saying you want the GM to have the power. In that case, LeBron is the GM. Let's not kid ourselves. He's power forward, coach, GM. So like we understand.
Ironically,
LeBron's earned that right.
LeBron has definitely earned it, but that might be his worst role. Yeah. He's great at being a basketball player, and he's great at everything else. But I don't know if I want LeBron as my GM.
He single-handedly brought Anthony Davis there for the bubble title.
And Russell Westbrook.
Yeah. No, listen, not all GMs are perfect.
What else you got, Peter?
I'll just close with hockey. Canucks over the Sharks 10-1. The Sharks still winless this year at 0-9-1, and the Stanley Cup champion Golden Knights are now 10-0-1. They beat the Jets 5-2.
I'm gonna, I think, place a bet on the Sharks. They are due. I'm telling you, Maggie, watch out. I think they're much better than their record.
Not on the MacArthur Generals. You're gonna bet on the Sharks.
I can't get any action on the MacArthur. Now that I know the inside information, when I said, "Is there going to be a fake punt tonight?" You started sweating. I could. Oh yeah, you don't know. Whatever.
I don't know.
Also, the MacArthur General's a little on the nose, huh? 855-212-4CBS. I like it. We're all rooting for the Generals. 855-212-4227.
I'm not. I went to the rival school.
Oh, you went to Manhasset?
You went to Division.
I went to Division.
Oh.
It's not really a rival. They play in a different conference. Same school district. They just play in a different conference.
We're still better, but anyway.
I would severely doubt that.
Wait, Pete, is your high school team in the playoffs?
I have no idea. I have not kept up with them since 2003.
But I did say the best betting joke of all times from The Simpsons, where Krusty the Clown starts betting on the Washington Generals because they're due. He's like, and he's watching the game. He's screaming, "There's a ladder on the court. How can you not call that?"
855-212-4227. See you guys on the phones. We'll get to you in just one moment. Also coming up, we do have the GOAT giving out some advice. We'll get to that. Okay, Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back. Maggie, Perloff, ODB. Now, didn't want to bring this up, but I have been thinking about it for quite some time, which is you do have an unpaid bet and an unpaid debt.
I know.
And Nick is calling from Texas, one of our biggest pals. Nick, it's great to hear from you. Good morning. How you doing?
Good morning, my friends, and 3 quick shout-outs. Shout-out to the new coffee drinkers that joined the Weedos. And a big shout-out to my boy Jay in Nashville, who's been holding it down for the Weedos, who have come from the afternoon show to the morning show and has been doing amazing with his call-in.
Glue guy.
Yes, it was a little over a year ago, October 29th of last year, I won a bet with Maggie Gray, and we introduced the duck. And now I think it's time, with 4 games left in the Colorado season, that we need to get Perloff to pay up a bet. Do you remember that bet, Perloff?
I do. Now, we were just going over it in the break. I know I have to buy and wear a Buffalo costume, but what was the game that I lost the bet on?
Oh, my gosh. Now you already got me forgetting.
I think it was that Colorado was going to cover against
USC?
No, this might have been going back to the TCU game. You really owe this bet, where you did not think that Colorado had a prayer, or maybe it was Colorado over wins.
No. Yeah. I think it was Colorado, Nebraska.
Yes.
I think it was Colorado, Nebraska, the point spread.
Yeah, that sounds
Colorado,
about right.
I think Colorado was
the point spread.
Yeah,
Thanks for reminding me. It was the point spread. We covered and ended up winning that game. And so, yes. You haven't ordered that yet? Wow.
Come on, Perloff.
Nick, I need your help now. It's $200 for the one you want me to buy. It's it's like a real mascot.
Wait, I thought we found a cheaper one. I think we found a knockoff of that, and it was like $50 or something.
I thought you had Spike's company card.
Yes, the black Amex is ready to go for all of our stunts. Nick, I'm glad you called, because we have to put Perloff's feet to the fire. He's been so wrapped up with this new Victor Wembanyama bet, where he's going to have to drive to San Antonio if Wemby wins Rookie of the Year. He completely forgot about paying off his debt to you.
Right. Well, there's 4 games left. I was hoping, sometime that Buffalo can make an appearance for your daily Dion, and then go from there. But, yeah, just had to remind you, because I know every time we've had a bet, you kind of pull kind of push it to the side for about 5 months.
Yeah.
We're going to start calling it you're pulling a Perloff.
Nick, you could
Not like me. I pay these things off immediately.
I don't know if that's. I think Nick was talking about you too, because it took a while.
Wait a minute.
Hey, Nick, are you going to come join us in San Antonio when I have to go apologize to Victor Wembanyama?
Of course I am. There's no doubt I'm going to make my 2.5-hour drive over there and come hang out with you. So, yes, I'm always on board for meeting up with you guys whenever I can.
Nick, thank you. Hi to the family for us. Appreciate you weighing in. And, yes, we got to hold Perloff to this. Start going on Amazon for Buffalo.
I found it. I found a reasonable buffalo costume, but it's funny. It says bull costume, animal onesie, cosplay costume. So that has me wondering, what does that mean? Is that like an adult kind of thing going on?
We're going to all find out.
Because, if you mess with the bull. Anyway.
Yeah, no. Carla with a K is calling from Idaho. She has a thought on the Michigan sign-stealing scandal. Good morning, Carla.
Good morning, Maggie and Perloff. How are you guys?
We're doing great. How are you?
I'm all right, thanks. And actually, Nick, the previous caller, also made me remember a question I have. So I have a question and I'll have a comment. I'll go with the comment first. I just want to thank you yesterday for bringing up the fact that there are players who are, just young men. Some of them are 18, 19-year-olds, and they didn't have a lot to do with this sign-stealing thing. That seems to all be a coaching thing, and I just hope that whatever happens does not affect them. It just seems like that would be so unfair. So that's
Wait, Carla, when you say that, you mean they shouldn't keep Michigan out of the Big Ten title game because the players don't deserve that? Or is that what you mean? Or you're saying the court of public opinion?
Well, I heard someone, I think it was like Zach Delb or somebody. I'm sorry if I'm naming someone I shouldn't name. Or
No, that's
fine. We love Zach.
Yeah.
Okay. I can't remember who it was, but they came on to the radio and they said this is what should happen and the team should be suspended from all sorts of things like
right. And you think it should just be on the coaches because the coaches are the ones who are executing the scheme, even if the players are benefiting from it. Sorry, Carla, we're up against the top of the hour. What's the comment or what's the question you had?
I need to know what a Weedo is or a Guido or however you pronounce it. I'm new to you guys, so I need to know.
Okay, so it's good we've actually got this question a little bit, Carla, so thank you. A Weedo is very, very simple. These are a group of people, delightful people, who are in our YouTube chat, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio or twitch.tv/CBS Sports Radio, who were celebrating 420 in every single time zone that we were on in the afternoon. They were weirdos who apparently like to smoke a lot of weed. Therefore, they're weedos.
Yeah, the purple drinkers is a longer story.
No, they're coffee drinkers now.
Coffee, I mean, they'll splash of codeine.
Weirdos who smoke weed. Fans of our show, apparently, and we love them. Coming up next, our celebrity NFL picker. Don't move.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
He's destined to get knocked out by Jake Paul. She's destined to film it. They are Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
This is just how the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to win games. Hey, welcome to the show. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. It is Maggie and Perloff right here on CBS Sports Radio. Stop looking for this high-flying offense. Stop looking for this to be this aerial attack or whatever. It's going to be grinded out games like they won last night, where Kenny Pickett goes on a drive late in the game to score a decisive touchdown or kick a decisive field goal, and that's just how the Steelers are going to live this year.
That may be true, but where's that going to take you? It's going to take you to the wild card round. I think the Steelers need to aim higher because they have some Super Bowl players. They have T.J. Watt and Highsmith coming off the edge. That's a Super Bowl formula. And the problem is the offense. I'm not going to say it's all Kenny Pickett, but Kenny Pickett has not taken that jump that I expected in the second year. That's why I made the Steelers my Super Bowl pick. I thought he was going to be a borderline Pro Bowler, and he's nowhere near that right now.
The fan base has been trying to tell you that Matt Canada is a problem. Now, it might just be the entire offensive philosophy. Let's run the ball. Let's win with defense. Like it is the AFC North after all. I know it's the year 2023, but you're going to win a lot of games that way of trying to just grind these games out. So, I mean, Kenny Pickett's on a short week. He's got injured ribs. He did just enough last night. His numbers were terrible, but he did just enough last night and didn't turn the ball over. Like, you can win that way. And they are winning that way.
You can win to a level. to a level that, honestly, it's been a long time. The Steelers have been a slightly above 500 team for a few years now. It's time to start aiming higher.
Well, I think Pickett is still a guy who can get you there. Like, I think he can win you a Super Bowl. This year, I don't know if the offense at all is going to be explosive, but you get into December and January football, and I think that the Steelers will be playing in January, and I think Steeler fans will take 5.5 yards a carry on the ground, quarterback not turning the ball over, and TJ Watt coming off the edge.
Well, that's in part the Titans played the game that way. They let them move the ball on the ground because they didn't think they'd get it in the end zone, and they actually did just enough. You said that, what's missing? What can you add to make this a Super Bowl winning team? They have the receivers. They have the defense. Now they should have the running game. They drafted Najee Harris in the first round. They've drafted offensive line. Everything's there. I'm not sure what you can add other than the quarterback improving his game.
Okay, but let's think about it, right? So Perloff thinks that Kenny Pickett is the problem here. I think it's more the offensive philosophy.
Well, I don't like that either, but anyway. Yeah.
Well, for doling out pieces
I don't
of
like
blame
Matt
pie.
Canada. I don't like Matt Canada.
Well, nobody does.
But last night, Canada got guys open, and Kenny Pickett missed them.
That is true. Canada going from the box to the sideline. It's funny. I mean, I get it, though, because it's more about the communication face-to-face. It's not like what you're seeing versus not seeing. It's like, hey, I don't have to call down from the booth. I can just like talk to my quarterback and my quarterback's coach a little bit easier. Maybe they just weren't communicating. I mean, it's a bunch of dudes.
Yeah, I mean, this is the Connor Stallions problem, though. When you're on the sideline, how do you see everything that's going on? When you're up top in the booth,
what wasn't a problem for Connor?
Well, I always wondered. I'm like, why is Connor putting on this costume? He should just go in the 10th row. Because have you ever been on field seats?
Yeah.
You can't see anything.
Yep.
So anyway, I actually do wonder that about the offense coordinator. Can you really call the game from the field, or are you having a guy upstairs who's telling you what to do? Regardless, Matt Canada couldn't do any worse. Last night was actually the smoothest the offensive looked, and they still scored 20 points against a medium Titans defense.
Yeah, the medium Titans defense. However, the Titans do have something on offense. Like, it didn't translate last night because they couldn't score in the red zone. But Will Levis looks like a dude who can play in this league. His arm is nuts.
Yeah, he's big, strong, and he's a runner too. He didn't get out of the pocket much last night. That is very exciting. The fact that he fell to them in the second round. If you eyeball the 4 first-round quarterbacks, it's funny. I think you would go Richardson 1 when he's on the field, Levis 2, and then those little guys. I mean, C.J. Stroud has played very well, but still, he doesn't.
He's not little.
He's not
like
little,
Bryce Young.
but he doesn't blow you off the screen. He's just super efficient. And he looks like a veteran. He's very poised. But those two guys look like the specimens, Will Levis and Anthony Richardson. They throw the ball 40 yards down the field on a rope.
Just way more of the wow kind of plays, but
Which doesn't always work in the NFL, by the way. I'd rather have the efficient C.J. Stroud.
No, I thought the Titans last night kept the game close in a lot of ways because they got 6 first downs off of penalties. Like, the Steelers just kept giving them, just gifting them drive-saving penalties. Especially late in the game. I mean, probably could have been a little bit more lopsided of a score.
Were those gifting, or were the Steelers just manhandling them in the defensive backfield, which the Steelers will do?
A little bit of that. I mean, this one, again, got ugly.
Yeah, there were a lot of flags last night. And
17 penalties.
I hate them, but then they would show the replay. And yeah, that Titans offensive lineman, Petit Frere, he was holding on every play. The Titans had a lot of line issues. Did you see in the first half?
Guys were going in and out.
Guys were going in and out. I thought that maybe was a little bit of faking. I didn't understand what was going on. 5 guys got injured in 5 plays. But there were a lot of penalties last night. It was tough. Kenny, explain to me what Kenny Pickett can do in the last 5 minutes of a game.
Yeah.
Why can't he do that all game?
There's a lot of guys like that. There's a lot of guys where I think the less they have to think or the less time they have to react, the better off it is. You can kind of go off instinct, go off of, your preparation from the week. And I think there's something about some guys have it, some don't. In the moment, what do you do? And Pickett clearly has whatever that, intangible is.
Right. I think for some athletes, the less you think, the better you do.
Yeah, I think that's most athletes.
Yeah, and that's always been my problem athletically. You play tennis, for example. Yeah. I think thinking can kill you in tennis because then you get in your own head and you start to see the negative outcomes and you tighten up. That's the kind of athlete I was.
As soon as the game's on the line, Perloff is in the 5th row. Just shooting bricks.
Instead of what can I do here to win the game, my thought is how can this go badly and how can I lose the game?
Which is funny because you don't like James Harden, yet you have so much in common with him.
James, no. James Harden is bad in the entire Game 7. It's from the opening tip through the end of the game. I could play the first 54 minutes of a game.
Well, Kenny Pickett still he does have that thing. So we asked you on Twitter, we asked you, is Kenny Pickett the problem on offense in Pittsburgh? And it's really close. 51% say no, 49% say yes. And it's kind of this very polarizing Steelers offense, quite frankly. I mean, it's their offense coordinator who's under a lot of attack. It's now Pickett, who I think people are getting a little bit frustrated with, like Perloff. Yet the defense is there. I think they're going to be a playoff team. Now, the funny thing is, if you're the AFC North, you have the Ravens, who are off to the races, right?
Yep.
They're leading the division. And then you have the charging Cincinnati Bengals, who've looked great the last 2 weeks, including beating the San Francisco 49ers on the road. They play the Buffalo Bills on Sunday night, another huge game. Like, the Bengals, we are going to hear from the Bengals. So who is going to be the odd man out? Because I don't think the AFC North is getting 3 wild card teams.
I think I think you have to look at the Browns. I mean, how unstable. They absolutely dropped the ball. They should have won that game. If they'd handed the ball off instead of throwing it at the end of the game against the Seahawks, they actually have another win. But talking about winning despite bad quarterback play. Now where they're going DTR this week?
Yes, it looks like it's going to be back to Dorian Thompson.
Is there any chance? I actually haven't followed. Is there any chance Deshaun Watson suits up, or is he out?
No, he's out. And I think the latest he said was he's not sure when he's going to be coming back. I mean, this is still more really disappointing. Another disappointing moment here from this Deshaun Watson experiment.
Yeah. Well,
many.
Maybe, again, I'm trying not to blame him for saying my shoulder hurts. Because usually, I think you can't question an NFL player about toughness because they are literally getting mauled. By the way,
he's unsure.
Yeah.
They're leaving as unsure.
Yeah. Speaking of shoulder injuries, the Cincinnati, Josh Allen missed practice this week.
Saw that. He is going to play. So,
ooh.
But it's clearly a lot worse than anyone had anticipated.
I'm looking. We were talking about this in the break. It is so hard to handicap this week. There's so many games. We don't know if Matthew Stafford's playing. We don't know what team's showing up after the trade deadline. It's a wild week to pick.
Okay, so speaking of picking games, our celebrity guest NFL picker is in the building. We're going to take a quick break. She's here. She's hilarious. She's beautiful, intelligent. What more can I say? And she's going to be headlining at the Apollo Theater doing stand-up comedy coming up next week. So we will have our celebrity guest picker. She's here. You're going to meet her next. Don't move. Maggie and Perloff. If you want to watch the show, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio, twitch.tv/CBS Sports Radio. Get on board now. We're back in a moment.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. It's hour 4 of the show on Friday, which means it's picks time. And I got to tell you, Maggie, I'm sweating. I'm sweating my picks this week. I think we need an expert to come in and help us out here.
Yeah, I mean, Perloff, nobody cares about your picks when we have our celebrity NFL picker in the house. We do this on Fridays. And today, if you want to watch, she is here with us in studio, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio. JIAOYING SUMMERS is here. Thank you so much for doing this.
Maggie, thank you for having me.
Now, we just found out you are just off a plane from Shanghai.
Yes.
Like, how do you look this beautiful and this alert after you've been on a plane like that?
Because my kids was not with me.
Yes, we know that. As soon as the kids leave, it's like you're 5 years younger.
Yeah.
Also, like, way more down to party. You know, if my kids are around, someone offers me a glass of wine, I'm like, oh, I really shouldn't. And then as soon as my kids leave, I'm like, turn into Gene Simmons from Kiss. Like, on the table dancing.
Yes, because you need it.
Yes, it's like life telling you need it. JIAOYING SUMMERS is like one of the top rising comedians in this country, Perloff, and you're from China. You're going to be headlining the Apollo Theater coming up on November 9th. This is iconic theater in New York, and you've only been doing stand-up for 4 years. Is that right?
Yes. Yes. When I started, I bought 2 comedy clubs the second month in my comedy career. People ask me, how can you buy 2 clubs in 2 months in comedy? I tell them that's what happens when you don't marry for love, honey.
Nice job.
The Apollo, with all the history there, I assume because you've been performing that you don't get nervous, but that's a big crowd and a famous place. Any nerves about playing there?
I'm actually not nervous because I like attention. I'm just being honest. I'm not gonna pretend I'm a nice person. I love attention because I never got any attention my whole life when I was growing up as the ugly girl who's not cute, not sweet.
Get out of here.
I am the more people, the better. For me, it's the more people, the more relaxed I am. I'm like, okay, they are all here. Okay, good. If somebody come up on stage and punch me, everybody will see it. The more people will see it. I love people. The more laughter, I feel high. That's my drug. I don't drink alcohol anymore. I'm sober now, so being on stage is my only drug.
Well, and hopefully no one comes up and punches you. I mean, it's not the Oscars.
I would love that. I will sell out my whole tour. That would be great.
So, coming from China, it's got to be this massive culture shock when you come to the U.S. Is this informed? I know it's informed a lot of your comedy. What's been the craziest change from coming from China to the United States?
I would say, I went to Kentucky directly. I went from China to Kentucky. I want the real culture. I went to Kentucky. So there's culture shock from China to Kentucky. Also, culture shock from Kentucky to Los Angeles.
What was bigger?
It's actually similar. It's kind of two different worlds. I actually a lot of American people in Kentucky, they are super sweet and nice. I mean, my mom is brutal, so everybody's nice. I don't feel any people who are really mean to me, other than my boss when I was working in restaurants, and they were very mean to me because I didn't have a green card, so I had to work everything. Also, the owner was actually Chinese. I'm like, he's like, you have to go back to China if you don't work hard. I'm like, let's go together. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, if I'm going, you're going too.
Yeah, so let's go together.
JIAOYING Summers is here in studio. She's at the Apollo November 9th. Of course, you can follow her on social media. Hundreds of thousands of followers on social.
So Kentucky's huge sports area. Basketball, football. Was that an adjustment for you? Did you get into it immediately?
I actually had no idea how big our basketball team is, but I knew it was big. But until I started working at the math lab, tutoring math. This is not stereotype, but I was a math tutor. And then we have people like John Wall and Anthony Davis walking around in the hall, and then all my friends in China were just screaming. They want T-shirt, sign. I'm like, what? Do you know those guys? They are just right here. I don't know anything about sports, so I'm missing out on all the. Also, I forgot to give him my phone number. That's the biggest regret ever. That is bad.
Then give Anthony Davis your phone number.
I forgot to. Yeah, I can't do that. That was stupid.
So you must notice. I mean, they're huge. So when you see a 6'10" Anthony Davis walking around campus, I assume everyone knows who he is.
Yes, I know they are sports star, but I just didn't know they are going to be in NBA. They are national. I have no idea how big those guys are.
Yeah, and hundreds of millions of dollars. JIAOYING Summers is here. She's our celebrity guest picker, comedian, of course. She's going to be at the Apollo on November 9th. Are people in China as obsessed with sports as they are in the United States?
They are actually. They are very obsessed with sports. They love martial arts, UFC.
Yeah, sure.
And they love basketball, and I think basketball more than football, but football is very popular as well, and golf and all of the American sports they really do love, but not so much what was it, 橄榄球 in Chinese? I forgot how to say it. It's probably the thing what was the sports in the blind side, football.
Yeah.
Okay, so football is hard to understand, but it's trendy with the richer people.
Yeah. Football's the fancy sport in China.
It's fancier.
Wow.
Is Tom Brady I know everyone knows Kobe and Michael Jordan. Was Tom Brady famous in China?
Not as famous as Kobe and Michael Jordan, but he's famous because his wife is Gisele Bündchen.
Yeah.
Oh, somebody's gonna be so mad at me. I'm kidding. They are both famous, but
I think in this country, I don't think anyone's going to get mad at you.
But NBA is much more popular in China, but football is popular in the fancy, richer people.
I love that JIAOYING Summers is here. She's headlining the Apollo November 9th. You have a good theory, speaking of football, on Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce and what's really going on here.
I just feel like I think that Taylor did not pick a quarterback because she is the quarterback. She's kicking the balls. So it's a good match. They are a good match together. And a lot of pressure for Travis because, he's playing football, showing off his skills to his girl, sitting in the big stadium. There's 22 people on the field, and knowing that she can sell that stadium just on her own, that's a lot of pressure for a man.
And also that she's like the producer, right? Like this is her album. Travis Kelce's just a guy being cast for her next album.
She's a producer, director, and writer.
The two of you are the same. Cynical. You don't believe in love here?
I mean, how much value and money is gonna produce for the American economy? She's a Miss Americana. She cares about the economy. That's all she cares about.
And yes, she's doing a lot for football, which I never thought I'd be able to say because football doesn't need any help. The NFL is doing just fine. Okay, so other culture shock of coming from China to the U.S. Like, tell us, point out some of the things you find odd about America.
Maggie, dating. Share the bills.
Oh,
I had no idea. We have that here.
So usually men pick up the tab in China.
Yeah, they have to if they wanted to be alive. Like it's crazy. There's even like a breakup fee in China. Like a breakup fee if you are dating a guy for 5 years. Like he did not marry you, and he had to pay a breakup fee. For damage for your you invest your youth on him and he's ruining your life.
And then you can take all that money and put it on Botox. This is perfect.
Yes, repair the damaged parts that you can renew yourself.
Or like a therapist.
Yes.
Yes. We should have this here.
I like it. I like
breakup fee. Does it work for women if you break up with a man or no?
If you are the daddy, like if you are the money, if you are Cher, she broke up with her 20-year-old boyfriend after she breastfeed him. She has to pay the breakup fee.
Wow. Listen, that's like equality.
Cher's boyfriend's 40 years younger, right?
Yeah.
She's living the dream.
I mean, it's Cher.
I'm not even. I worship her.
Really?
She's living the dream.
We were wondering, of all the comedians or stars who you kind of either look up to or, I don't know if, people who you were inspired by, like Cher is number one.
Joan Rivers is my all-time favorite. Like, I would really want her to be here right now to address all the nonsense that's happening. There's an actress, she played Amber Heard and Johnny Depp for Halloween, and now she's apologizing. Why are you apologizing? Yeah. Like it's so you can't do anything anymore. I try to not apologize about anything. Like I'm okay with people don't like me. I'm fine with it. Like my husband's left and my mom hates me. I really don't care. At this point, there's nothing left.
Yeah, there's nothing that you can say.
Yeah, I'm not. I just want to make people laugh, and I want to defend the freedom of comedy. We have to be able to say things.
Yeah, there's this idea. It's funny about cancel culture, and I think Joan Rivers would have been someone who we would call uncancelable. There are some people who you just can't. They're unassailable in a way. They're going to say things, and people are going to get offended by what they say, but they still remain in the public eye.
Well, is anybody uncanceled? I mean, obviously Dave Chappelle goes back forth with that line.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, you follow the comedy scene. Do you think there's any safe space right now, or can anybody go over that line?
I think there is no safe space for I don't know how that sounds, but for people who for a man and a woman who is white.
Oh, really? Oh.
If you are a white lady, you say anything, even though you are not being racist, you are a Karen. You are going to be labeled as a Karen. As a white man, you are done. There's nothing you can say. No. I just feel like a white man, it's hard for them to say anything. Who even though they are trying to be profound, it's just gonna sound racist to people who are trying to pick problems, and I just think it's unfortunate.
Do you notice that with male comedians and female comedians who are white that they express this, or is this something you've just witnessed from?
I witnessed. They can't say that because if they say that, they get canceled.
You can't even.
Yeah, I'm just saying that. I would roast the people like Lizzo, and nobody can say anything about her. Because nobody can, and I would, Maybe because I'm a woman of color. Also, like my comedy has, I've never apologized about anything. It's just if you are a hypocrite, that's it. I'm going to attack you. Like I'm going to make sure the thing you do is not good. I don't care like who you are, how much money you have, what skin color you are big or small. If you are hypocrite, I'm just not going to let you go. Like that's my rule. That's all my rule.
Who do you think is like the biggest hypocrite right now?
Jada Pinkett Smith.
Tell us more.
She, I really felt that she left her house bald for the Oscar. Like I really felt like Chris Rock was planning on giving Jada a good compliment. Because Jada has everything. Jada is beautiful. She's wealthy. Her husband listens. She has beautiful children. But Chris Rock's like, what should I give Jada? She does not already have. Then he's like, a career. So he's like, Jada, I love you. JIAOYING 2, cannot wait to see it. It's a movie about a hero. Yeah. That woman is a hero. I mean, it's Demi Moore. Like I've never remembered Demi Moore being ugly. I think a woman with no hair is gorgeous, and I just thought that Jada is she's more pretty than most people with hair. Yeah. Like she look good with anything. She look good in a garbage bag. She's that gorgeous, and her being offended and Will Smith slapping Chris Rock. I just said their marriage is open to everything but jokes. It's just ridiculous. And all her book coming out, I'm just like, we don't care about this. There's more important things we should worry about.
Are there?
That being said, you just sold me a book. Yeah. I want to read this now.
Yeah. She's a hypocrite, and people can't say that. I'm saying that because my eyes are tiny, but I can see, I can see a hypocrite.
JIAOYING Summers is here. November 9th at the Apollo. And of course, on social media, your Instagram is amazing. I love the name of your podcast. Tiger MILF. I'm like, is this a podcast name or is this a category on RedTube? I don't know. But
I really felt that the Tiger moms, it's cool. But like when we say Tiger mom, we think of like a brutal Asian moms with bamboo stick hitting their kids. That's it. It's so like it's like a robot. I feel like an Asian woman can be strict, can be beautiful, can be funny, can be sexy, can be attractive. We can be so many things, and I just felt like a Tiger MILF would be so fun.
I think every man just like stood up a little straighter in their car, wherever they were listening, a Tiger MILF. And that's the name of the podcast. You have great comedians on there like Patton Oswalt and others. It's really, really fun. Again, November 9th at the Apollo. Let's get to our celebrity picks.
Woo!
Time for celebrity picks.
Did Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous make it over to China?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Robin Leach back in the day.
It's crazy. My rich friends, they would give me this diamond ring. She's like, oh, you should wear it. Your husband left, you should don't look broke. I'm like, you can be brutal. Just give me things. She gave me the jewelry, the diamonds. I'm just like, okay.
Wow, we need friends like you. All right, JIAOYING Summers, we've said no NFL knowledge is really necessary for these picks because you have as good a shot as anybody. The so-called experts, we have no idea what we're talking about either. So let's go for some picks. This first game is the Kansas City Chiefs, so Travis Kelce's team, against the Miami Dolphins. This game is in Frankfurt, Germany, for some reason. Who do you like in this game?
Well, the Chiefs, they are Native Americans and they look Chinese, so they are like my people. I would vote my people. But Miami Dolphins sounds like old gay naked people. Like I don't know who's rich and they eat dolphin sushi. I don't trust them. Elton John can decide, but I'm go with the Chiefs.
Amazing. Next game, Seattle Seahawks are playing the Baltimore Ravens.
I would pick the Ravens because Ravens are more vicious. They eat bodies. They are aggressive. Seattle Seahawks. I think those people in Seattle, they are so busy with they are sorting the recycling of their ocean waste, trying to pull out the straws from the turtleneck and take out used condoms from turtle heads. Like they are busy at things that's not sports. So I don't trust them.
It's as good a reason as I've ever heard. The Buffalo Bills are playing the Cincinnati Bengals.
The Bengals, because they are from Asia, right? Bengal Tigers. They are from Asia. I love Tigers, Tiger MILF. I'm going with it. Also, I went to Kentucky. It's next to Cincinnati, so I feel like it's kind of close to me.
There you go. That could be your home team. That's a good team to choose. Dallas Cowboys playing at Philadelphia Eagles.
Well, I sell a lot of tickets in Dallas, so Dallas. I'm all about money. I'm a Chinese woman. It's all about money and diapers and food for the kids.
I love it. And finally, the Los Angeles Chargers are playing the New York Jets.
I'm from LA, but now I'm in New York. I need to sell out the Apollo November 9th, and my loyalty can be bought. I'm here for New York. New York Jets. New York Jets. Win.
There we go. Also, as Peter is also a Jets fan, but your podcast is Tiger MILF. The quarterback for the New York Jets apparently likes to
date older
women.
Nice.
His mother's friend.
That's sweet. I can still breastfeed. What's his number?
This is the secret weapon here, Jets
Yeah,
fans.
I'm an Asian woman. I can be 90. You would never know.
JIAOYING SUMMERS, November 9th, the Apollo. This is a historic venue, and you're amazing for doing this. Off a flight from Shanghai, and you look beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Maggie. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you for having me.
You're the best.
Thank you. That was awesome. I love your reason for the Ravens, because the Ravens eat dead. What was it? They eat
dead body. They are aggressive.
Yeah. No, I'm picking the Ravens now. I am definitely. You're going to go 4-1 because this is and but you don't get anything. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
We have some stuff in the back.
As long as I don't get kids, I'm fine.
I love it. Peter Schwartz is here with some headlines. Again, JIAOYING SUMMERS, November 9th, and check her out on social media. Podcast is the Tiger MILF, and also on Instagram and YouTube. Amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Peter's here with headlines. Good morning, Peter.
Liking that Jets prediction. We'll start in Pittsburgh on the
Follow that
update.
up, by the way, Peter. I'd love to know what you have.
There's really nothing I could do to follow up on that. We'll start, though, in Pittsburgh, where the Titans led the Steelers by 3 points in the fourth quarter.
First and goal at the 3. Pickett in the shotgun. Gets the snap. Looks right. Deontay Johnson wide open. Touchdown, Pittsburgh. The Steelers march it 92 yards to take the lead.
As with 4:02 left on the clock, Bill Hillgrove on Steelers radio. The Steelers rally past the Titans 2016. Head coach Mike Tomlin summing up the win.
I'm appreciative of the fight. We needed this one, and it's good to get it on a short week and be in the clubhouse, man, on a Thursday night with the necessary victory for the week. And so excited for them. We'll rest up, man, take advantage of the long weekend and begin our next process.
Kenny Pickett, 19 of 30, 190 yards, and that game-winning touchdown pass as he battled through his rib injury.
Felt good. Shout out to our trainers, Gabe leading the way, helped me get ready to go, and Sonia and Dino, short week, did a great job of helping me get ready, and I felt good.
Steelers improved to 5-3 with 4 of their wins coming after they were trailing entering the fourth quarter. Quan Alexander sealing the win, picking off Will Levis at the goal line with 6 seconds to go. And with the loss, head coach Mike Vrabel's Titans, they dropped to 3-5.
Just troubling to lose. Well, whether you're at home or on the road or in London, you lose. You put a lot into it, played hard. I don't think we played well enough in really any phase to take control of the game when we had an opportunity. Felt like we had some momentum and couldn't capitalize on it.
And Titans quarterback Will Levis threw for 262 yards, but threw that costly pick in the final seconds. Now to the NBA, and the league's first overall pick came up huge in the fourth quarter.
1:40 remaining in the game, and the Spurs lead by 10. Left wing Sohan, guarded by Bates Diop. High post, turnaround jumper, Wembanyama, it's good. He's got 38 points. And the Spurs lead 128 to 116. Since it was tied at 116, the Spurs on a 12-0 run, and Wemby's done most of the damage.
With 10 of those 12 points, Bill Schoening on Spurs radio, and the Spurs beat the Suns 132-121 after they let a 27-point lead evaporate.
Is calling Wembanyama a bust going to end up being the worst take I've ever had in my entire life? And apparently you too, Peter.
Yeah.
You did say Tom Brady was a system quarterback, so it's going to probably be neck and neck.
I think it's probably worse for you than for me because I'm not the biggest basketball person in the world. I like to go with the eye test. And to me, like when I saw film on him, I'm like, that is not going to equate in the NBA.
Yeah, I feel like this could be like calling LeBron a bust. It could end up being that bad. I don't think he's going to be LeBron, obviously. If I never called LeBron a bust, that would have been the worst take. I still am not.
LeBron had some meat on the bone coming out of high school.
Maggie, give him an elbow. Just knock him off the block.
Listen, once you drive 27 hours to San Antonio to apologize to Wemby, it will wipe the karma slate clean. That's it, though.
Spurs head coach Greg Popovich on his rookie who scored 38 points last night.
He's a multifaceted player. I mean, he'll pass it to the open guy, but, he's got confidence in himself. And, he made some plays that were, unbelievable. So that combination is pretty good if you have that skill and you're still willing to pass.
And he had 2 assists to go along with 10 rebounds in that game last night. Elsewhere in the association, 76ers over the Raptors, 114-99. Joel Embiid, 28 points, 13 boards. The Pelicans beat the Pistons, 125-116. The Magic over the Jazz, 115-113. We talked about this earlier. Rangers-Astros World Series, the least watched fall classic in recorded TV history, with an average of 9.11 million viewers, less than the 9.79 that watched the Dodgers-Rays in 2020.
Man, I mean, I'm not that...
Not a lot of eyeballs.
I'm not that surprised because I don't think we ever got really good storylines to grab onto,
I think it's
and stars.
I think it's a lack of history of the teams, either both against each other, and
yeah, maybe that
they don't have for better or worse. There's no national fan base for teams like the Diamondbacks and the Rangers.
Yeah,
and I think locally they're very loyal, but I feel if out of market, I'm not sure they catch.
I had a hard time watching the former Yankees holding up a World Series trophy.
With
and
Mets. Chapman and
and Montgomery
and
there were a couple others.
Yeah, but it's like that's always going to happen. I think with like Simeon and Seager, like they do have these stars. Like Nathan Eovaldi is awesome, but he's not this big personality.
And Bochy too. I mean, Bruce Bochy won all those championships with the Giants. You'd figure him coming back and they're in the World Series, people will be like gravitated to see if he can do it with another team.
One thing to be fair, the ratings of the last 3 or 4 it's not just this matchup.
No.
Yeah.
Even Phillies, not even Phillies, that was very bad. Even the Dodgers was the all-time low in the bubble. I think it might be Yankees or bust. I'm not sure any team is really going to move the needle. Or we get a Shohei in there, and we're nowhere near that. It's not therefore. I do think, and I'm kind of negative on baseball. It's not fair to blame the Diamondbacks or the Rangers.
No, definitely not. I mean,
they earned their way there,
and they were entertaining games. Yeah, I mean, the Diamondbacks swept the Dodgers. Like it wasn't even a thing. And
the numbers will be higher when the Yankees are in it next year.
Is that your prediction?
Well, I'm just hoping for it every year. It's
losing to the Mets.
Do you realize
that would create a big problem in my household, but I hope that.
Do you realize no one else in the country is rooting for that at all?
Oh, that World Series was awfully rated.
They would root for the world to basically implode than another Subway Series. They don't want to see it, and I'm with them.
I think you need.
That was too much pressure in 2000. It really was.
Shohei Ohtani. Now, who would not? He'd be something.
Ohtani in a World Series. You're right.
That's the best bet they have. But I mean, is he anywhere closer? I don't know where he goes. But
we'll finish with hockey. NHL Stanley Cup champs continuing to roll.
Knight's going to steal out high. Remember, an empty net. Marchessault shoots. He scores a hat trick goal. The 6th hat trick in Jonathan Marchessault's NHL career. 5-2 Vegas with under 3 minutes to go in the 3rd period.
Dan Duva on Golden Knights Radio. Golden Knights now 10-0-1 after a 5-2 win over the Jets. And just let me close with this.
Yes.
Let's go Generals.
Let's go Generals. Peter's
son.
Go
Generals.
The long snapper. He's got a playoff game. Little high school Friday night lights. We're wishing you all the best.
Yes. Hopefully not too cold tonight, but in any event, good game. Hopefully.
Gotta get Boomer Esiason to give him a pep talk.
I already invited him. He lives not far from there, from the high school. But he's going to Maryland tonight for a reunion of the championship Maryland team from the 80s. So
yeah, Boomer's busy, but you can have him. Maybe he'll
This
record
is Boomer Esiason.
have him record like a 30-second video or something.
Championship Maryland team?
But they won like a conference tournament, conference championship or something like that.
Maybe it's the basketball team.
I think that's what it was.
Is this? He's going to celebrate Joe Smith or what? Who's the Maryland?
Whatever
Juan
football
Dixon.
team. The year he was in Maryland, they won a conference title. So
That's
I
pretty
think
cool.
they're having a reunion.
Amazing. have him record something for the kids.
I'll give it a shot.
I bet he'll do it. 855-212-4CBS. Perloff and I make our picks, Maggie and Perloff style, next. Also, big changes with the Raiders. Nothing that you would have expected, though. The new regime has come in, and they're putting their fingerprints all over this thing. We'll get to that next. Don't move. Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. 15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff, welcome back. Okay, we've got to do some picks here. Maggie and Perloff style. Perloff, I am 11-13.
Okay.
What'd you do last week?
I was 1-2.
So you are 13-10. So, you know,
Oh,
follow
boy.
us for more gems like that, making money for people. Let's get to our picks. Okay.
Maggie and Perloff's NFL picks.
Professional broadcaster over here, just jumping our own liner. Quickly, we have to do this. This is how we do these picks, Maggie and Perloff style, because we still have shot of the day we have to get to. So, 1 over under, 1 against the spread, 1 player prop. Perloff, you want to start us off, or you want me to go?
Can I go out of order?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I'm going to go with my total, my over-under here. And this is hard because this is backup quarterback week galore.
It is.
So I have to tell you, you have to pick a backup quarterback game. The one that I am leaning towards, I'm going to go under on Browns Cardinals in Cleveland, 37.5.
Oh, that was going to be mine. I'll come up with another. I've got another one.
That's
Don't
why I
worry.
wanted to go first because I knew you were going to pick that. Actually, if you want that, well,
No, it's okay. Stay with that.
because there's 3 other injured quarterbacks you could bet against. And I'm assuming I'm going to put the Rams on the injured quarterback list because you saw Matthew Stafford. His hand is totally screwed up. But anyway, go ahead.
Okay, so, man, I'll go with my over-under total as well. I'm going to go with this is going to be crazy here, but I'm going to go with the Monday night game, Jets and Chargers. I'm going to go over 40.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
I like that because that's against the grain.
It is over 40. I don't think, can these teams get to 40? I think they can. This is some very low totals here this week. So Jets, Chargers over 40. Okay, go against the spread.
They totally can get it under 40. Okay, this is another tough week. I am nervous about this because I've seen other NFC teams come into Baltimore and just get boat race. But I am going to take the Seahawks +6 against the Ravens in Baltimore. I feel like that number is just a little high. Listen, Lamar Jackson is on a total heater. He's doing anything he wants. He's making it easy. But I think Geno Smith's playing really well for the Seahawks, too. So I think it gets to be a little bit of a shootout and a closer game.
Okay, my against the spread, I don't like any of these. So when in doubt, take a home dog. And that's what I'm doing with the Carolina Panthers plus the 2.5. I'm really hoping that the Panthers Super Bowl wasn't last week against the Houston Texans, where they finally got their first win. But I don't like any of these spreads. So that's always my sort of default. Take a home dog, Carolina plus the 2.5.
Yeah, I think Bryce Young's playing better. Also, Gardner Minshew on the road, I've heard some bad things about. I looked at that game, too. I think we think alike because...
well, similar records.
Okay, and we do one prop.
Yep, I got mine if you want me to go.
Okay.
This one's easy for me.
But I hope you don't take mine. I have a feeling you might.
Okay,
Please, go ahead. No, you go. Is yours the Dolphins Chiefs?
No.
Okay, go ahead.
Devontae Adams over 6.5 receptions. Signed, sealed, delivered.
Yeah.
You got a coaching change. The offense was the problem. Now, you're having Aiden O'Connell as the rookie quarterback, always a little bit of a wild card. But I think that they're going to force feed Devontae Adams the ball because they realize that, he's been underutilized this year, and they're coming off an embarrassing 2 losses, 1 to the Lions, 1 to the Bears. So give me Devontae over 6.5.
That's absolutely a win right there for you. Okay, Chiefs, Dolphins. Here's what I'm scared of is the Germany just takes the offense out of this game. But 1.5 touchdowns for Tua. When he's played against good teams, he has not hit that number. So not against Buffalo, not against Philadelphia. Kansas City's a really good defense. But I just have a feeling because of the time change and the jet lag, Chris Jones is just going to be 5% off his game. And Tua is going to make this more of a Mahomes-Tua showdown. I expect a lot of points. And if there's a lot of points, he'll definitely get 1.5 touchdowns.
There you go. Maggie and Perloff, their Week 9 picks. Let's get to our shot of the day.
He shoots!
And the shot of the day is brought to you by Casamigos Tequila. Casamigos Tequila is brought to you by those who drink it. Today's shot of the day, well, we learned from one of our callers today, it was Lonnie in Pennsylvania, I believe, who told us when Kenny Pickett really won over the Pittsburgh Steelers fans. You want to know who else was shotgunning beers at the Luke Combs concert? Maggie Gray. Well, kind of. Perloff and I saw him at the Super Bowl. I didn't shotgun a beer, but we were there. Listening.
We were technically present at the Luke Combs.
So you did a half Kenny Pickett then.
Yeah, man, I'm like
president, but no.
I'm second quarter Kenny Pickett. Fourth quarter Kenny Pickett is shotgunning the beer. I was second quarter Kenny Pickett, just cheering politely.
Can I relive a conversation from that concert?
Which one?
Coach Rick Neuheisel comes up to us and goes, "You guys are huge Luke Combs fans like me?" And we're like, "Yeah. We're huge Luke Combs fans." And we whisper, "It's Luke Combs, right?"
Yes. Perloff and I became fans that night. Yes, that was our bad, by the way. We should have found Luke Combs. The rest of the country had already found him. But yes, this is Kenny Pickett really won over the Steeler fans when he shotgunned a beer at the Luke Combs concert.
There was just, wanted to make sure we weren't, it was Super Bowl week. I think Luke Bryan was playing somewhere that week. There was a lot of concerts going on. Remember that night, we had 10 different cool things to choose from.
And we picked Luke Combs.
We picked Luke Combs. That concert was amazing.
It was.
But Coach Neuheisel really is a fan. He's Mr. Music. By the way, real quick, back to the bets.
Yes.
I had one. Tell me, I should have picked this one. Do you ever have that where you don't pick?
Yeah, after how you reacted to my Chargers-Jets over, I immediately started to regret
no, you
it.
should regret that. Jaron Hall, 16.5 rushing yards for the Vikings. So I was going to pick that because, but here's the thing. Are the Vikings really going to play Jaron Hall all game? Josh Dobbs might suit up. They're going to go to Josh Dobbs in this game, right?
In the game, you think?
I don't know. What is this Jaron Hall thing? I am so shocked by some of the quarterbacks who are playing this week. Tyson Bagent, Jaron Hall. It's week 9, and we're into Division III quarterbacks.
I mean, Tyson Bagent's basically a high-end starter at this point compared to some of these other quarterbacks. Are you crazy? Yeah. Also, quickly, the Raiders made some changes, not just Josh McDaniels being fired, but they now have a basketball hoop in the locker room. And according to reporters, they're playing NWA music, of course. They are doing like the offensive linemen are like wrestling with each other. And this is the most fun a locker room has looked, according to these reporters, all season long. There's a little ding dong, the witch is dead here.
Yeah, Josh McDaniels, not popular amongst the players. Okay, this is great. How about we win a football game? And they have a chance.
They play the Giants this weekend, and they're 1.5-point favorite.
Yeah.
Daniel Jones is back, by the way.
Interim coach Antonio Pierce, right time, right place. 2 games against New York teams. Will work against KC? I'm not so sure.
I love that the first order of business once the coach was fired and the GM was fired, like, we need a basketball hoop in here. Like, somebody, give me a ping pong table. Stat.
By the way, Devontae Adams hit a 30-footer on that little basket. Unbelievable.
Get him the ball. Thank you to EJ Stewart. Thank you to Pete Pilati. Thank you to Andrew Kaplan. Andrew Bogish was not here today. Peter Schwartz did a fantastic job. Guido's coffee drinkers. JIAOYING Summers was awesome. Have a great weekend, everybody. See you Monday.
You're in a 5-minute break.